Hi everyone, welcome back. Episode 7 to Epic After Hours podcast. Today we've got Eric and Alex joining us. Eric used to work for us. Oh, it still does actually.
Yeah,
He still
I was
does.
gonna say.
He used to work for us and then he left because he was too busy vending. And then he came back during the holidays.
I was doing marching band.
Okay, he was in marching band.
Yeah, so nothing.
Here we go.
Did you win?
No.
But yeah, how long ago did you work here? When did we start? We started in 2021 or 2 in Springfield.
Springfield 2022.
2022. And then you probably like
The summer of 2022.
where were we? How many counters did we have? One. The one in the corner.
Yeah,
Or
just the corner. Just like literally 2 glass displays, maybe 3.
2. Yeah. Yeah, that were 22. Then you used to come in the store and then we were like, we need help.
No, I was just coming to the store as like a normal customer for like 3 or 4 weeks. I was coming in regularly because that was the first time I knew about stores doing trade-ins and buying. I think at the time it was like 70-80%. So I'd just go in and trade in a bunch of stuff. And then one day you guys were like, I think Vanessa, she was going on vacation and you guys were saying, oh, who's going to cover?
Yeah.
And I just said, well, I can cover, and then I asked, I was like, is there anything I need to know?
Better
And Jeff
memory
was
than
like,
me. I didn't remember that.
dude, Jeff just said, just go in there. Like he said he was going to show me the ropes. I went in there. Jeff showed up for 3 minutes and said, all right, see you, dude.
That's Jeff.
That sounds about right.
Intense management training. I mean, yeah. If I can do it, then anyone can. But you've obviously been collecting how long?
I mean, as a kid, I collected a bunch, but I got back into it when I was living in Virginia in 2017, and I was getting all this money from just playing gigs in Richmond, and I was just buying stuff on eBay and just building a small collection. At that point, I had like every gold star. I was collecting all these like first edition slabs, and they were only like, I got the Fossil Dragonite PSA 9 for, I think at the time it was like $50. And I sat there, I was like, dang, this is a lot of money I'm spending every week. And I was spending all my paychecks. Yeah, that and Evolutions just came out. So I was buying them on Amazon for like $90, $100 a pop. Every week I was ripping like 3, 4, 5 booster boxes. And then I sold everything in like end of 2018. And I doubled my money on the gold stars. And I was like, oh man, I'm a genius, dude. I know what I'm doing. And then I stopped. COVID happened. It boomed again. And I was just ignoring it because at that point, I was just.
Not jealous.
I was jealous. I was mad. No, I was. I was sitting there. I saw the gold star Rayquaza sell for like $1,000. I was like, damn, I sold that for $500. And then, I took a break completely. And then me and my girlfriend started dating. And she's like into Pokemon, and she was like ripping a little bit. She actually got me back into it. If we didn't start dating, I would not have hopped back in. This was, I think, like at this time, like 2021, 2022, like right before I met you guys. And we just got one Lost Origins, like ETB from GameStop for $35. And we pulled the Bugsy Trainer Gallery, and I thought we hit the jackpot. I swear, I was like, whoa.
I suppose the artwork changed a lot.
Yeah, well, yeah, they didn't have full arts. Even when I was like collecting 2016, I mean, there were, but they weren't like this. It was right before the big tag team stuff was coming out, and we were just hooked ever since. So we were looking up all these like local chains and stuff, and we went to all these like, I'm not gonna name drop, but we went to all these like whack shops that, I mean, I knew how to price things at that point, right? So I wasn't just some new person to the hobby. So I'd go to the shops and be like, hey, on TCG Player or on eBay, it's saying this. Can you match it? And they'd be like, no, I can't do that.
That's when they were buying at 40%.
Bro, that stuff got me so mad. And like one of the only reasons why I started frequenting an Epic at all is because, I would, be like, yo, like, this is $35. TCG has it for 32. Can you do like 32 or 30? And like more often than not, it was just like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
right.
That's right. That's why we always did from the start. It's like we always tried to do match TCG. Yeah, we're probably lost. We've won on some, but like majority we've lost. But like it's just being fair with people. Do you know what I mean? How it's like trying to get, like it's just we've always said from the start we're going to price them as TCG. Like it's the risk that you're in. That's why obviously we do percentages just to trying to cover that kind of loss, which it does happen.
Yeah, but it was really appealing that, I understand like with shops or vendors or whatever, there's like fixed rates that we all have to abide by, right? If you buy something that goes down, I mean, you might take a loss, but at the end of the day, especially with Pokemon cards, these are not like an asset. These are a luxury good with totally artificial value. So to say there's like no room for like barter and debate in any kind of secondhand store is, I mean, it's crazy because these are literally cards that people are selling on the secondary market. They're not like, it's not like we are printing out these Pokemon cards. Right. We're getting them, opening them, ripping them, and then reselling them online. So I think when you have that kind of game, there's a lot more room for bartering and like, arguments to be made.
So when did you start stealing chairs?
Bro, the amount, I will say, like, and I think Alex would attest, like, especially when we do these mall shows, I mean, for all the shows, I mean, knowing you guys here at Epic, I mean, you guys, I will say we do use the chairs. I steal an energy drink or two during the shows.
Yeah, because I remember I walked in and I was like, where's all the chairs? Because the chairs have been breaking a lot because they obviously got a refund on them. I was like, I can't believe we've lost that many chairs. Then I went out. Then I was like, you'd got one or two. Zing next to you had got one, and then there were another vendor on the other side. They got one, and then another vendor came to me and says, "Do you mind if I borrow a chair?" I'm like, what the hell?
Sure, we'll put up a sign that they're for rent whenever they're.
No, I was gonna say you guys should do that. You guys should do $25 for the day. People will do it. These vendors have so much illegal money.
I'd pay 50.
Yeah, don't say that.
Start running the chairs and the card trays.
Yeah, that's what. Who was it? Someone said to get the
Display
Zion cases. Yeah, to do that and then rent them out.
Well, that's what at NJTCG, that's what Maryland does. I think it's a great idea because, especially for somebody that's like it's their first show, to rent $50, it gives them a easier bar of entry to see if it's going to be a lucrative thing because, a lot of people say they're going to vend, and I noticed like a big influx of new vendors coming in. I mean, I'm one of them, and a lot of these people think they're going to make a lot of money, but like I said, it's not that simple. So by renting a case, you don't have to spend. How much are our cases?
I think they're 180 now.
Yeah, and they're coming up.
They just went up.
Yeah, $180 plus tax and
We've
shipping.
got some in Springfield.
Yeah. It's not those Zion ones, but we could put them to work.
Yeah, we could.
So what made you transition from just collecting to then? Obviously, you started working for us, so you saw what it was like to sell. What made you transition then to like go and start vending?
He saw all the money you were making.
The money. Oh yeah, dude.
I know you're all about the money.
Dude, it's all about the money.
I never thought you were. I thought you were all about the cards. But then now he's like, yeah, he's all about the money.
No,
some of your videos are funny though.
Yeah, no. Like a lot of these vendors, dude, they're gonna sit there and pretend they're doing it for the community. Oh man, I'm for the community and the memories. Oh,
trigger word.
My God,
trigger word.
Pseudo's trigger word for Jeff.
It's total baloney. Oh yeah, dude. And they'll be like, dude, can I buy this for it's for my PC, bro. Can I get it for like 87%? Like, no, I can't get it for 87%.
Jeff's got screwed over by it. Some guy came in when we were in the old store, in Woodbridge. Came in and said, "Oh, can I get a deal? It's my personal collection. Got like loads of tag teams and stuff like that." Jeff was like, yeah, I can help you out. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're here to help people like with the collections. And then the day after was Woodbridge Card Show. Jeff walked outside and he's vending. Just literally outside us.
Was it right across from us? Yeah.
Yeah,
I remember.
Jeff was like, never again.
No, dude, because all these vendors, man, at least I'm straight up. Like, dude, they will lie through their teeth. They will say the craziest, wildest things to save 10%. It's wild. And, they will do anything. And they'll act super nice to people. Like they can get that extra 10%, but if you don't do that, they'll badmouth you. They'll be like, "Man, screw this guy. They don't work with you, man." Blah blah blah. It's like, yeah, I'm not.
I get it because, like, do you know what I mean? But there is like I saw on Vendor Snitch, and basically like someone were like trying to get a deal and they were like, no, I'm not going to deal. But like, that's why we like used to, we still give people deals. Like, but it's like, it's to bring people back. Like, I feel like now a lot of vendors are just like ready for that one-time transaction. They don't care about anyone coming back because they know that there's that many people that there's gonna be someone else.
Yeah, what are you gonna do when the market drops?
Yeah,
Then what's gonna help you is having those return customers that walk through the doors.
yeah. It's like, yeah, like even like you thought I were wild on the giveaways. Oh, like I wanted to make sure at least everyone in the store got something.
You did good.
You know, like, and even on the second round, people didn't get it. I walked around with packs and got them to like give them packs just so like at least they got something. Because there's nothing worse than sat there and not winning it.
Yeah.
Alex, can you tell us about how you and Eric linked up?
So I actually met Eric through a friend in high school. We played Xbox together. Warzone.
He sucks at Warzone.
No, I don't.
Same. I did get a win.
But we probably met before COVID on
Grinder.
Xbox. What's that?
It's a grinder.
We probably met in like 2019 and we played for years.
Wait, when did we meet in real life?
I have no idea.
Dude, this is my first time meeting this guy.
Eric, this is Alex.
Who are you?
This is your blind date.
Yeah, but yeah, I met him in around 2019 and I don't know how, but we started going to the gym together.
Oh, that was fun.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah.
You don't
Remember
go
when you
anymore?
benched 315, bro?
I tried.
I couldn't spot it off of
You
him.
don't go
It was
anymore?
too heavy. I was there today.
Oh,
I'm
were we
not
together.
Oh, no, he lives too far away from
no-
me.
Yeah,
bro.
we're kind of far apart
I know.
now.
Sad.
So, but we used to be gym buddies, and we did that for like a few months, and then we would go through like like gaming cycles together, where we'd be play for a while, then lose contact, play for a while. In college, I was big into selling watches online on the gray market, right? And that was a good experience I had. I made a lot of money during college.
Some of the watches were expensive too.
Yeah.
Like they weren't just like small little Seiko. Some of them were like several thousand, dollar watches. Like high
Nuno's eyes
Pokemon.
have just perked.
I
Nuno's in
want
the
one.
market for a watch.
He's looking
Yeah.
for an Omega or a Breitling, right?
I
Maybe.
gotta go for the Rolex.
Yeah.
Yeah. But after college, I kind of put that down to focus on graduating and my career. And I've been kind of I've always had that kind of businessy mindset. And Eric knew that I had some experience with Pokemon cards, just kind of collecting them as a child. And he had brought the idea to me. And I said, okay, I'll give it a try. And we did some shows and it's kind of just taken off.
Yeah, I took him to before I started vending. I took him to the Woodbridge Card Show, and I sold a Poncho Pikachu for such a low percentage, like maybe 70%. And I just had all this cash. I just wanted to show them just kind of like the bartering. So even though I took a loss on this Poncho, and I was fine with that, I wanted to show them because I'm not a guy. that has a lot of
Disclaimer: He
cash.
didn't take a loss on that.
No, I took a huge loss.
Yeah, why
got-
did you do that?
I got $1,425 for it,
And he bought it for $1,400.
no, I paid oh man, I don't even want to think. I paid a lot, well over 16. But
If you sold it now,
what if I sold it now? Dude, I'd probably make like I'd probably sell it for $4,000. It was a 9 Rayquaza,
Oh,
but
definitely.
I went there at the show. I was just showing them the hustle and bustle and kind of the idea that if you have enough cash, you can kind of bully these vendors into giving you deals. If you have enough,
it
you can.
depends. Like we used to do it. We used to do Woodbridge Culture, and then we were getting good deals for 70%, on cards. And then they found out we were streaming on Whatnot, and then that went to 90%, 95% because you could sell it online for more.
That's what I
And
do.
I was like, but then they were like, well, you can't unless you're like a huge streamer and people are just willing to waste money. Everyone wants that 10% off because
Yeah.
they're looking for a deal.
Yeah, but I think after that show, I was explaining them the plan because I kind of saw what you guys did, and I was like, man, I like that 3 friends getting into business together and kind of expanding. I was like, that's cool. I like the idea of being my own boss. I'm very passionate about my current job, but I like being in charge of myself. I don't like somebody being in charge of me directly. But when went to the Woodbridge Card Show, and there's a third of us. Brandon, he's not here. He's actually in Florida right now. Hi, Brandon. But you know,
Let's go, Brandon.
Come back.
but I told him, I said, look, if you really learn how to do this, you can flip a lot of money super quickly. And, you know, after the first show, I think they were kind of interested. And after like we done 2 or 3 shows and the cash was starting to flow, like, so I don't like talking about the numbers too much. I just usually when people ask like, hey, how much money do you guys make? I tell them we, you know, barely break even. I just don't. But like, I mean, the truth is we probably started,
Expose.
we might have put all together of our personal money, maybe $13 or $14,000 into it, right?
Yeah, I would say
If you put all 3 of us together, it's probably a little bit less than that, but I put in a lot. If you were to calculate all of our assets and like show fees and everything we paid for, you know, from March 2nd, am I gonna get in trouble from the IRS if I say that?
Probably.
IRS,
Probably
if
not.
you're watching,
Okay, I don't know.
stop.
This is for fictitious.
This is all
Hypothetically.
hypothetically.
Allegedly.
Hypothetically.
We've used that before.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, if we put in like 13,000 since March 2nd, we would allegedly estimate that. What number did we say earlier?
Somewhere between 65 to 70,000.
Very good.
Yeah, I would say it's probably around closer to 60 than 70,000 for sure. Just because, you know, when you take things in, you know, nowadays, dude, we're paying crazy percentages.
Everyone's a vendor.
It's
Yeah.
everyone, dude, everyone. That's the thing. Like, I don't mind giving deals to my customers. I don't do deals with other vendors. Like, I don't need to.
Did we speak about that the other day with Zing? And basically, I said I don't understand why vendors don't trade for like 100% each. And like-
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
because they each got a deal already for the product. they
yeah, but
acquired, so
basically,
why not?
yeah, like, do you know what I mean? Because like
No.
I've got something that I can't move or I'm not moving.
Mhm.
Do you want to
You
take it?
like to
As long
rotate
as
the
it's not
product.
like it's not like saying like, oh, I've got a poncho, but I'm not really selling it. Don't really get higher end customers. Give me 50 slabs, and then I'll be able to sell them 50
I
slabs
don't agree
because I
with
get
that. I think there's no such thing. I don't care what anyone says. If you're talking about real like business and Pokemon, there is no such thing as a 1-for-1.
there is.
No.
If I've got a $1,500 slab, you give me $1,500 in value. That's a one for one trade.
So if you had a $1,500 slab and I offered you 2,000 EX cards that were worth $1, would you do it?
If I had the market for people that used to come for me to EX cards, yeah.
That's a fancy way of saying that he would not do it. If you come, you heard it here, people. Come to Epic Trading Collectibles with your EX cards, trade them in for $1 each. No,
What did I
but-
say? I said if I had the market.
No, but the thing is, it's about the liquidity of the items you're getting,
Yeah,
right?
you
Something-
also have to be able to move it, is what you're saying. Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. Like you said to us, like, oh, you should probably get more high end. Like we don't have that high end, like people coming in.
But what I'm saying is that vendors at shows, we're all going to the same show, so we all have the same theoretical clientele.
And the
Listen,
same stuff.
we saw a lot of ponchos and stuff.
Everyone had a poncho.
At Collecticon
For
this past
sale,
weekend.
not for sale. I think ponchos range between 81 and 11. I think the highest I saw for the same poncho.
Yeah, but if you have like,
Or not for sale.
if you have gold stars, and somebody wants to trade in like some modern 151 Charizards, like yeah, you might be able to get that value, but Charizards are also like modern has more risk of going down. So there's
right
also
now, yes. Right now, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's also you have to factor in stuff like that. If things were as simple as a 1-for-1 deal, if it were that simple and like everything was so cut and dry, anybody can go in this field and make a baloney amount of money.
But if I said to you, like, oh, I've got a poncho, but I like your 2 gold stars.
See, there are
But that could be like if it's like good. I don't mean like one person's gonna get screwed over because like is it or like someone will like, oh, I just do sealed. I don't really do
yeah.
single.
So let's say they're
I'll do
both
that.
like
Yeah.
super hot items, like a poncho, like let's say a Rayquaza 10, and you know somebody wants to trade like 2 or 3 gold stars, right? Now it gets a little bit more debatable, but now this is just gambling.
Does that happen though?
Yeah, yeah,
Like-
we get
Yeah.
we've had people ask for trade our high, like they trade in their high ends for high ends. We've done that. We gave one of our friends Ian a Luigi, a half art Luigi PSA 10. and we did like a 1-for-1 ish trade. But he's betting on the fact that Pancho Luigi's going to go up. I'm betting on the fact that all these other cards are going to I have more chances of rising. So at the end of the day, these cards don't rise and fall at the same rates. One of these cards is going to rise faster than the other ones. That's just how it works. So even if in the moment that is a totally like 1-for-1 deal, again, a lot of these high-end slabs, you're going to sit on them for a bit. It's not every day somebody's going to have $4,000 of cash just to drop on one card, right?
Yeah.
So you got to find the right buyers. And for different things, there's different liquidities. I don't like doing much 1-for-1 trades with vendors just because, especially if they're offering, look, there's a reason why they're offering that. Whether it's they already have another buyer and maybe that's cool, I'll do that. If I'm gaining liquidity or they can move something like right away, that's fine. But that's not what it usually is. Usually it's somebody that brings I don't know, some Iron Crown PSA 10 and like a bunch of other PSA 10s.
Stuff they can't move.
That they can't, that aren't moving for a reason. And they want something big that's going to move. That's when I'm like, all right, I'll take it at a percentage.
I think that goes back to the fact of you're not getting a lot of vendors aren't getting repeat customers. So it's like a lot of stuff like that we see that we'll get in. It's like, some of them we will probably won't take in, but we know someone's looking for it to complete a set. So we'll take it in, put it to one side and let them know straight away.
Yeah, for us, repeat customers are a big deal. As much as I would agree, me and Alex and Brandon, we're first and foremost about the money. We're not doing people favors.
You're not doing it to give away cards to kids?
No, I wouldn't, dude. I can.
That's your favorite thing.
That's a whole nother rant.
We can get into that later.
But shoot, what was I saying?
Dude, you're
One for
enraged right now.
Yeah, 1-for-1 trades.
Oh, dude, I don't know. I hate 1-for-1.
You
trades.
just
I hate
messed
them.
him up, giving
I-
free.
I-
It's like free. No,
Dude, no, okay, maybe we are gonna get into this.
Personally, I will almost never deal with a vendor. Right? He has a little more patience with the vendor sometimes. I'll say that.
Dude, I've told him to fuck off.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a vendor come to your table and want the percentage in their favor?
Yes.
As if you're not there doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Right? You know
I
what
just
mean?
find that most
That's
of
what
the
I
time,
mean. Like if you're both doing the same thing, you both want the percentage, but just trade 1-for-1.
I find most of the time dealing with a vendor just is not worth it. Right? You're spending sometimes several dozens of minutes working on a deal.
And you could be working with other people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always find. Yeah, I always found that as people that I know Zing's mentioned it before. He's wasted time with people. He's told people the percentage he does it at, and then they back out at the very end. He's like, I've just spent 30 minutes with someone, and then
And
from
meanwhile,
just turn
people are
away.
walking past the table because they see that they're
'Cause they're
occupied.
busy.
They're occupied.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I've got patience. I wait, and you'll see on his next video.
at our last show at Woodbridge, we had a Zekrom. We have stickered at $900, and that's the last sale. The last sale was $900, literally that week, and then before that was $850, a couple months ago. It's Pop 60.
Are you one of them vendors?
Yeah.
Highest last sale.
Well, the pop's so low that only 60 of them exist. So
Yeah.
When else are you gonna get the data, right? And it just so happened it was a recent sale, that
Did
week.
you buy it?
Well, this.
Do you know what I did think as well? Kind of on topic, but
Yeah.
off topic. There were a lot of cards that I sold on eBay that was a lot higher price than the previous sales around Collecticon. It feels I was looking at, especially the ponchos. I was like, this is $1,000 more than what other cards are, and I'm like, in my conspiracy mind, I was thinking someone's definitely trying to pump this market.
They're all being
Yeah,
pumped.
for sure.
They're
Just
all
but
being
if you
pumped.
buy it the day before, you don't pay for it. You just let it sit there. It still comes
But
up as
it
a
still
sold,
shows up as a sale. As
and
the
then you
last
just
sale,
cancel
right?
it
Until
after Collecticon is done, and then
yeah.
that's your new market.
That's burned me a few times. It goes both ways. But yeah, dude, this guy comes up for the Zekrom. He's a vendor. I know him, and he's like, "Would you do 800?" Okay, I mean, okay, it's not the worst offer in the world, but why would I sell it to him at what incentive is there to me sell it to him at 88%? There's no reason for me to do that. Like
it's actually 88%.
roughly, yeah. I think it's like 87.
It's impressive if it is.
That's why we hired him.
Like, it might be like 85%.
But yeah, and then he goes and sells it for 900.
And it's like,
so why are you
it's
going to
like-
let him make money
he's
when
gonna,
he could?
exactly, and he's banking on like, you know, not only so he has like a floor of 900 plus if somebody trades into it at 20%, you know, he could stand to make like almost like $270, right?
Mhm.
And I'm like, well, okay, I respect that. And I've done that before, but when I buy from vendors, like I'll say this one vendor, you know, I love dealing with him because he's like no bullshit. His name's PokeWave. I've given this man like thousands of dollars. I look at his stickers, I calculate in my head. At the most, I will take 5% off of his sticker. I will just, and if his sticker's overmarked, I'm not going to sit there and argue with him. That's his sticker. It's his bit. He knows if it, I'm not saying he overmarks it. He does not overmark it. That's why I like dealing with
Yeah.
him. But, you know, if vendors overmark their stuff, you don't got to tell them. They know.
Oh yeah,
you
they
know?
know. They know. That's when you know they're 10-15% over. You get asked for 10-15% off. You're buying it at
Exactly.
You're
market.
buying it at
Gives
market.
them, gives them room to
And
play
then a
with.
lot of people that don't really know, just kind of thing, they'd be like, "Oh, I got really good. I got 10-15% off." You're like, no,
Yeah, it's
you
all
just bought
smoke
it
and
for market.
mirrors. Yeah.
The problem is the ones that mark it up the 15% and then refuse to come down off it.
Yeah.
yeah.
They don't want.
I
Yeah.
think I saw that on Vendor Snitch as well.
Good page.
No, me and Alex were talking about like an app that, you know, if we got showrunners to use, basically that every vendor has to sign into,
Mhm.
and you know, people that become like VIPs can create an account where they can give reviews to vendors. I think, you know, that way, like there's some, hey, there are some.
I hate reviews.
No,
Google's
but the
worst.
thing is, like, I could, if I were a vendor, I could just go to the highest reviewed one and just leave him loads of terrible reviews.
There'd be obviously it's a beta kind of idea where you would have to like figure
Figure
out
it out.
ways to figure that out, but
Maybe I'll wait till like
But
vet,
the-
But
vet
a
the
lot of
people.
these
or-
Can't
vendors
make
are
everybody
literally
happy.
scamming people.
Yeah, but
You would just curse someone out that
I would.
tried to scam you.
I would.
He only does that
But
when I'm around.
that's
by
why
the
you
way.
should, if there's vendors, then you should post them on Vendor Snitch.
That's true.
We should start doing that.
You should.
Don't leave him hanging.
Yeah, man, you gotta,
Promoting it. No, but like, you do see some like crazy stuff like on it. Like I saw I shared it with you. It's like someone wrote in the group, and he was like, there were a card. It were $41. It was like the last sell on TCG market, and they had $40 cash, and they gave him $40, and they said, you still need to give me the dollar. It made him Venmo him on $1.
bro. I would have just walked away. I'm like, nah, dude, I don't need the card that bad. You know.
I feel like you'd be the guy to make him Venmo the $1.
Well, I did have a guy. So there's a video. It's on my Instagram. His name, I don't know if he wants me to give his first name, but he's a regular customer of mine. He had his daughter there, and he bought an $1,100 tag team U2 slab. And he was like, "Would you do 1,000?" I was like, "Nah." He was like, "Would you do 1050?" I said, "Nah." He was like, 11? I was like, "No, 11, not like $1 less." So he buys that. And this is where I feel bad. He's like, "Can I have the card?"
Oh,
There we go.
I said, it was just a normal pink card. Oh my God. I was like, yeah, for $10.
Oh my God.
used God.
And then his
Come on, Eric.
daughter bought like an $8 Glaceon card. And I was like, yeah, $8.
Why didn't you just give it to her?
Well, so it's funny. I actually DM'd him because I was rewatching the video. I was like, damn. Like, I'm all for playing some hardball, but like, I was like, damn, I was like adamant that day. I don't know what it was. I DM'd him. I'm like, bro, like, let me Venmo you like $20 for the guard and like the card you bought for your kid. But he knows me and he knows I do good business. He said no.
Sounds like
No, I tried to Venmo him. He said, no, dude. Like,
You're
just
done.
next time,
You're
I'm
done.
buying, like, just hook me up a little bit. And I said, done. Easy, you know?
he started
Nice, that's good.
putting his cards up 5% more when he comes,
Change the
just to cover the cost.
Yeah, guards are not free. Yeah.
Oh,
Guards
the
are
$10 from Epic Trading Collectibles.
$9 from Pilot City Collectibles.
$8 from me.
What?
I got a
still
van parked out back. I'll open the trunk, $2.
Now everything's going up. Like, I'm surprised Greater God, because I don't know where they make them. Like, top load sleeves. Top loaded sleeves. 110 now. Like, they're going up. Or some districts, $3 each
Jeez.
for sleeves.
Yeah.
It's the demand. Maybe they got to print
Top
more,
loaders.
So,
I didn't even look at top loaders. We do have a lot in the back.
Yeah.
But yeah, you should I bought in bulk. Bought like 1,500 sleeves.
So I got a question for both you guys. Like I guess me, Ben, and Jeff took a different route. We opened up a shop to start. You guys decided to start vending. What do you think was like or what's the difference? What's the similarities? Like, what do you think? Eric has worked in the shop, so he's kind of seen both sides of it.
Yeah. So the difference, I would think, I guess, I don't know how much money you guys started out with, but this is kind of a
Pretty
easier,
close to the same as what you guys did, because it was
Okay.
three of us, three of you guys. So it was a very similar starting point.
Okay. So this is kind of like, I guess, the route we decided to take, to be honest. I don't think we were ready to open up a store. We're a lot younger than you guys too, so that's another
Thanks
factor.
for that. Thanks for that.
Speak for yourself.
We are trying to figure out some logistics. So me and Brandon, we both work 9 to 5 every day. He does too,
Kind of.
kind of. But also he's a teacher, so he is off in the summers.
Yeah.
So just kind of, we're still kind of in the talks about all that kind of logistical stuff, how that's going to work.
Okay,
Um,
I could see that
That's-
making sense
yeah,
now, because
we technically, I know we didn't vend, but we streamed.
we started streaming,
We
but
started streaming on
it
the
was
weekend.
on the weekends. So,
No, but
so
it's same as what vending
but
is.
with the vending
Yeah.
and doing the shows, they can do that on the weekends. They don't have to do it every day of the week. When we
Oh
open
no,
the shop,
but we streamed for what, a year,
yeah,
18 months
Right.
before we got the store.
okay,
It's very similar, thing. We just did it on a weekend. You don't have to stay up until 6 a.m.
yeah,
Real fun.
But if we did want to open a shop right now, someone would have to quit their jobs or find a new something like that.
It
right?
depends, because we made it work, because
Well, we were kind of fortunate. We all still work our regular 9 to 5 jobs.
I don't
Not
know.
bad.
Well, not bad
Ah,
anymore, but that's
money
that's
bags.
recent.
Yeah.
It's been 3 years now, so
Yeah.
it does take a while before.
Yeah, because it kind of fell. I know Jeff were off sometimes in midweek. I kind of were working from home. You were working nights.
Well, yeah, I was working nights, so I cover the shop during the day.
Yeah, you used to wake up, cover the shop from 12 till 3, 4 o'clock. Then either myself or Jeff used to come in, leave work early or whatever. And then we just used to do that. We're only open, 5 days a week then?
Yeah.
Or 4 days?
No, we
5
were,
days?
5 days, Tuesday through Saturday.
Yeah. And then we kind of worked it out like that. It kind of fell. And then Debbie started working. You know what I mean? Once you start working back on days,
Mhm.
and then we take her off. There is ways to do it, or you could you can just open stores later, kind of thing.
But I mean, being behind the scenes with you guys, I know the ultimate goal is for one of you guys to quit your job and do this full time, just manage the store full time. And I think that's kind of a key thing. Goes back to where you were saying that you guys are talking about this. One of you guys is going to quit your job to run the store. I think that's definitely an important factor, and that's something you guys are working towards.
Yeah, and because that we all live in slightly different areas. It's not as simple as when somebody's done work. Oh, they can just drive up to the store
I'm an hour and a half away.
Yeah, it would be
An hour
that-
and 30 minutes.
Yeah,
that's
he's
rough.
in South Jersey. Brandon's in North Jersey, and we're in Central.
You didn't pick friends to up and do this by location.
Met online. I mean,
No, that was my one mistake. But yeah, and even if we didn't go down that route, we'd have to hire probably an employee, and I don't know if we'd have the money to do that right away.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's you probably, if with you being in different locations, it would be a lot harder.
Yeah,
And one of you probably would have to take the jump to kind of do it. And
And-
you probably are gonna need someone because there's gonna be a lot of work for one person.
and it's it not only that, it's when somebody does that they're not just sacrificing their salary. If let's say, because out of the three of us, my salary has the lowest ceiling, let's say, but if I were to quit my job, it's not like, oh, I'm losing my $76,000 a year or whatever. I'm losing my pension, my health insurance. like years of service for my pension, like for the pension, because they're two separate things. My 403b, I'd be losing a lot. And then, you know, if we're talking about like one third, one third, one third ownership, you know, if I have to like sacrifice, you know, essentially my entire professional career, and then while, you know, like the other two can kind of flourish theirs while working simultaneously, we'd have to talk about like a pretty fat salary, you know, not something crazy, because there are pros. You know,
there's a lot of pros. I mean, I'm in the same boat as you. That's the same reason why I haven't left my job. It's just the benefits you get from still having your own career. But from, I think it was 3 months when I was out of work and I was running the shop full time, the best 3 months I ever had. Being your own boss is definitely like the way to go.
and that's why
His
I'm willing to
collection
take
went
a
up
hit.
by 60%, by the way.
Oh, Nuno's collection, man.
He calls it his pension fund.
No, someone came in Springfield the other day and they were like, "Oh yeah, you always used to trade with Nuna. I used to get cards, and then they were like, oh, it needs that one, and then you used to go, oh, I'll just put this to one side. I'll sort it out later."
Yeah, I'll take care of it later. Yep.
But yeah, like, and I'm willing to sacrifice like a lot of like, you know, salary stuff just to be my own boss. Because again, like,
Yeah.
it's not that I'm bad with working with somebody over me. Like, I work for you guys and I understand the chain. But, you know, at the end of the day, like, it's just my personality is I don't like the idea of being confined. And I think one of the reasons why, I mean, I don't want this to sound like the wrong way, but one of the reasons why I don't mind working for you guys is because, you know, at the end of the day, like, I kind of just do it for fun. I don't need to work here.
Right.
You
Yeah,
know,
because you do it, yeah, and it's like, yeah.
He does it for
kind
the
of
free
get it.
chairs.
Hmm?
He does it for the free chairs.
yeah, for the free chairs and the soda, right?
No, but that's the thing. Is like something that you do like. Do you know what I mean? It's a hobby that you are interested in. Like even Kate like just comes and spends like 4 hours on a weekend, and she just does it just to hang out and see what new we've got in. She gets paid to shop.
Yeah.
She basically gets
really
paid to
she
shop.
gives you guys the money back. at
Yeah,
the end of the day.
basically.
She works for the product.
Yeah, you guys were customers to start off with, so.
Exactly, but you know, leaving teaching would be a very difficult decision. It is a very difficult decision because I do love it, but yeah, just the idea of being like self-fulfilled.
Yeah,
you know.
that same like my contract ended, and I was like, honestly, I've hated my job for like 7 years, and if I didn't get paid,
What did you do?
It's like quantity surveying, cost management. Like in construction, it's like cost estimator. I think they call it here.
Money bags Ben.
I would have like if I didn't get paid as much as what I did, I would have quit like years ago.
Yeah, yeah, and even
But
if you have to
then
take a pay cut,
Yeah,
like small one.
now I took like a pay cut, but like I had to enjoy doing this. Like
I think you needed a break, I guess.
I needed a break 7 years ago. But like it's just like, do you know what I mean? I hated kind of that kind of lifestyle. Very like. Yeah, like people used to send me, oh, I need this done by tomorrow, and then they'd send the email, and they got it 2 weeks ago, and I'm like, why am I staying up till 12 o'clock at night just because you're incompetent?
Yeah,
So I'm like, it was kind of that kind of scenario, and I'm like, you know what, I'm done with this. Like it become too easy. Like I won't get any benefit from it, and all the kind of thing is, do I carry on doing this, working 60, 70 hours a week on something that I'm just making someone else picture?
and they're taking you for granted.
Yeah.
You know, I left one of my jobs recently, and that was like one of the big reasons is the communications from the higher ups were, I mean, from my perspective, borderline unprofessional with like you know, what they were asking me to do. That was like kind of going off of contractual commitments for free. It's not like other jobs where you get paid
very
overtime.
political.
Oh yeah. So you know, after all that, I was just, man, and I loved my job, right? But you know, at the end of the day, I'm being taken for granted. I'm being confounded. There's no real, the ceiling's already here. And, you know, I'm giving like all this free time essentially. And if I don't mind working 80, 90 hours a week. I've done it before during my Martian Man seasons, man.
What?
It was 12-hour days, 14, 15 hours days, like back to back to back. And I loved it. But, you know, at the end of the day, you know, you are making somebody else a lot of money, you know, and if I'm going to be putting that kind of hours in, I'd rather
do
be
it
making it for
yourself.
me.
Take the extra time and do it for yourself.
Yeah, because
Exactly.
like I never thought I'd be doing this because all the anime I watch,
Yeah, right.
All the Pokemon cards you collect.
We tried getting you to collect some cards.
I
and you just-
did, and then my cards started the business. Basically.
They went-
You had a
yeah,
battle
they
style.
went back
Ah,
into sell.
they were like, "What are we gonna do for product?" I'm like, "I've got all my cards. Like, just sell it." And then I got completed sets. I completed celebrations, shining fates, hidden. No, I didn't do hidden fates.
Battle styles.
Battle
was that was you or
styles.
Jeff?
Battle styles. I
That
did.
was you.
Yeah. I can't even think of the other ones. What were the other ones
I
around
think
that time?
those were the main ones around that.
And then celebrations. No, and shining fates. I had to keep replacing the Charizards because people kept coming into the
and the
store
Umbreon.
asking them for Charizards. So I kept getting them out, selling them, getting them back in, putting them in the collection. Someone would ask for it, getting them out, and I would like just sell it all. And then the Umbreon. It was the Umbreon, the Charizard, and
The Gold Mew.
and the not Gyarados? What was the other one? Is it a Gyarados in that set?
There is a Gyarados, yeah, but I
You-
don't think it was
the-
that one. It was
the
probably
one-
from the classic collection.
Yeah, like and basically just, and I was like, just get rid of it.
Oh, the Magikarp.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just
Oh, the
like
Magikarp
just
was another
lost. I just lost interest in it, and I was like, and I always say like, if I want to look at a card, I'll just look at it in the store,
Yeah.
and then I go, oh, that's really nice, like, and then
Yeah,
I
your
just
store is like
sell
your
it.
PC.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not like Nuna. Nuna like gets it because I really wanted this card. I've been waiting for years for this, and then puts it in a binder, and then puts it,
Never looks at it again.
and yeah, and then they're looking for another 3 years.
And Kate's still mad about that hard gold copy. So the next time you guys get one in, like Kate,
We'll get one. We'll get one.
Kate has claimed it.
Okay.
You know, otherwise she's gonna make me go to eBay and buy it.
But Alex, do you collect now?
Yeah, I started a little.
Oh, just
not
slippery
not
slope.
much. I used to collect a lot as a child.
Yeah.
And I gave probably when I was like 13 or 14, I gave my entire collection to my little cousin Christian. And a few years later, he had a house fire and it was all gone.
Oh.
So, but yeah, probably I was into Pokemon back in like 2007 through 2009. Diamond, I think, when that game was around.
Diamond and Pearl.
Yeah, Diamond and Pearl. But I had a few thousand cards, I would say, and I gave them all to my cousin because they were like, I was like, this is worthless. These toys,
And then-
this cardboard.
Yeah.
I'm way too old for this.
Well, it's
Yeah.
better his house burned down because if he had him, he would have bought a house with those cards.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And I would
Then
have
you would've been real
like,
mad.
I'd be like, of
Bro, we
course.
could have started we could have kickstarted this business with those cards.
Could have kickstarted a few businesses.
Yeah, yeah. But I've been out of the game probably since like 2009, 2010.
His PC's growing right now, though.
A little bit, yeah.
Slippery slope.
Tell him about the Charmanders.
Oh, I'm doing a PSA 1 through 10 Shadowless Charmanders.
Yeah, he's looking for the.
I'm looking for the
two?
PSA 2,
There's only like how many of them?
50 of them.
50 of them.
How many,
So-
what have you got so far?
I've got everything. The 10's always available. I didn't get the 10 yet. I'm just looking for the 2.
Two. So if anyone's got a PSA 2,
Yeah, yeah.
A 10 came to our table, but it was the first edition one.
what about the card?
Which one?
The Charmander.
It takes Nuna a few seconds to get
God.
it.
I just got it.
Yeah, and I keep anything I rip. Right.
He
Oh,
loves
I
ripping.
don't. I just throw
I
it in a
love
random
ripping.
ETB for Nuna to find.
There's a drawer full of the cards.
I know they're
that
gone.
is-
Go check.
Oh, is there?
They cleaned it out.
Nice. Good.
Every show, Alex gets finessed by some like jerk off vendor for like a bunch of packs they were paying way over market for.
Well, the first show I bought that Journey Together.
oh, here we
booster
go,
bundle.
bro. Here we go.
And
He
I-
got one.
I got the Ends Gold Zorak, and I got the Whale Lord out of that booster bundle.
You did make your money from that.
So then after that, I was hooked. I was like, oh, this is easy.
Yeah.
So
right.
the like 2 weeks later, I caught a restock at Walmart. Right. I bought 30.
No scalper alert.
I bought 30. What's it called?
This
The
blister pack.
blister packs. Yeah.
This grown man.
Didn't get a single hit out of any of them. I got a Lycanroc.
No, he started with opening 5, and he called me. He's like, "Bro, can I share up a couple more?" And I'm like, "No, So he
Like,
calls
let's
me
sell
again,
them.
bro. I ripped 12 of them. Dude, should I just rip the rest of them? I'm like, no, let's just sell them.
Once you start,
We sold 5. We sold 5.
After I opened 25 of them, I was like, all right, like I'm never doing
oh,
this
if I
again.
get to 25, I'm ripping the rest.
No,
I'm,
no,
I'm like,
should've.
these definitely hits.
There's
in
definitely
these.
something in
In
there.
the
Yeah.
last 5, no, gotta
Yeah.
open them.
Last 5-pack magic.
you said you were done, and then the next show at Bergen, you bought a 3-pack Surging Sparks blister pack or something
Yeah.
from the dudes in front, and again we got nothing. We've been on a dry spell with ripping.
Sometimes you do just get that urge to rip the like something.
I get it when I'm working here, dude. I look at the white Schwartz cards. I'm like, oh, man.
Perfect.
Like, but I'm like, well, I can't afford to rip Pokemon now at this point. So I'm looking at Yu-Gi-Oh and Magic, and Magic. Even Magic's expensive now, right?
Yeah.
My
Oh,
God.
those special sets, yeah. Final Fantasy. There's what's the newest one that's
Edge of
Sonic.
Eternity is coming out soon.
what-
Spider-Man, then Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
No, they just dropped Sonic the Hedgehog.
Sonic is.
Oh, Sonic's the promos.
That's like the secret lair.
Yeah.
It's the
right?
Secret Lab promos. It's
Oh.
a different set.
Yeah,
okay,
totally
yeah,
different.
yeah, yeah.
But then Edge of Eternity, Spider-Man, and then Avatar, Last Airbender. I just pre-ordered.
That's gonna be a
That's
good
sick.
one.
Yeah. Magic's smart with all these collabs.
They're gonna become the Fortnite of TCGs,
Yeah.
Yep.
and we'll see how far they make it because the Final Fantasy cards,
Oh, it's crazy.
dude, they're sick.
Mhm.
I want Paul.
It's the collector boosters where you're getting all the head stuff.
Exactly.
They're like if you can get one at retail, like definitely buy it.
Buy it,
Like now
yeah.
they're like $1,200, $1,300.
I was wondering how you guys like suckered Paul into like buying one for like $400 and some dollars.
Paul doesn't need to be sucking into anything. Paul will open anything. He's like, oh, I'm into Union Arena now, and then it's like, oh, I'm opening this, I'm opening that.
He just likes to open packs.
He
That's
likes to open packs, and he sells on TCG.
Mhm.
Like I don't know if he's still doing it, but like, then he trades them back in.
it. To get more stuff. Yeah. What's gonna be the goal for you guys then? I know you're vending now, but then is a store possible down the line?
I mean, yeah, it's definitely something we're discussing. I mean, I want to say like that's the goal, but at the end of the day, you never know what's gonna happen. I mean, there could be like a reality where, you know, if we're making like, if we made 50 grand in the last like 3 months doing this, and like we're generating like $200,000 to $300,000, you know, in profits. I mean, there's also other realities where, you know, we go on tour with Collecticon or like Card Party or something like
Start
those big
start doing all
shows.
the big shows
Mhm.
and
But-
travel because there are people that do that.
Look at
They literally
Pokemon
just
Network.
go
They
to-
don't have a physical store.
No, they don't have
They
physical
just go
stores.
to
They
all the
just literally
shows.
travel going to all the shows.
And that's something we thought about, like in order for me to supplement my personal career, like, you know,
that's what Ben wants to start doing, by the way.
yeah, like
What?
Start
Monday.
going to all the shows, not to vend, but
Yeah,
like
just to buy.
we'll
Yeah.
use that to supply also the stores.
I need a rematch for my $1,000 challenge.
I won, by the way.
Ah,
I'm pretty sure I won.
I don't know. You have to check out the
You
latest
gotta watch the
video.
video. Go check out the video.
But yeah, like if Mondays and Fridays, you know, I'm working the shop, on the weekends, you know, Brandon, Alex, and weeknights they can come in, and then I could vend on the weekends.
Ooh, I think we spoke about it before, and I was like, doing that is then you're taking product from the store.
Well, I'd
to
have my own
go-
inventory forced vending.
It'd have to be separate.
Yeah,
it's
but then
separate.
you're not gonna, because then you're gonna have a card in your inventory for your vending that someone's gonna come in and check.
Oh no, no, I would
and
put
then
my
it's gonna get all.
I'd put my
Unless it would
personal
be-
collection
Unless
in.
it'd be completely like
Put your
separate.
personal collection.
Yeah,
in.
yeah,
I don't-
I would start like I have a personal collection that I would estimate to be worth about like
$20.
50 to 60,000, and if I use that to
That sounds a
kickstart it-
lot like your profit.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe it's like 40 to 50,000, but if I use that to start it, and you know, I'm very confident that if I started with my personal collection to make my own table, I could probably flip it into like at least a couple thousand a week, and that way I'm like, you know, making a little bit of extra money to fucking survive, and then
Yeah.
you know, the card places and stuff like streaming is definitely on the table for us. I know like the whatnot takes a fee, but if you market yourself correctly, dude, some of these guys, man.
You've got it's
What?
very that's how we found it. It's like that's what one day like I gave up on Whatnot when Pokemon Go was selling 2 packs $7. Someone else was selling 1 pack for $11 or $12. We weren't selling any. they were just selling out. Like what pack after pack after pack.
You just have
But-
to grow to become a big name in
it's
But
like
we
a
had
almost
like
like- yeah.
6,000
It-
people or whatever it is, or 5,000 people on Whatnot. So they all got notifications whenever we went live. And we had it in the title. So when you went on Whatnot, you would have seen it scroll. And it was just people wasting money.
It's
on-
because of who they buy it from, though.
Yeah, but
Because
like,
bigger
why-
streamers, they want to say, "Oh, I bought a pack from this guy," blah blah blah.
And
Yeah.
that was a time when it was just like you were no, they were never honest on who got pushed and who was in the first people. But then
Yeah.
we obviously realized later that now you can pay to be there.
But this is a good segue into something I wanted to talk to you about. You know, those Whatnot streamers, the ones that are successful are the ones that have a name for themselves. They're putting out content. You know, they're big on social media, YouTube. You're doing pretty good with the content thing. Do you want to talk about that?
Oh yeah, like I think for us that like the social media will be kind of will direct us what direction we're gonna go. Because I honest to God think if we started a shop, right now on Instagram I think we're about to hit 2,600 followers. On YouTube we're around 860 subscribers. So we're small fish, right?
Mhm.
And TikTok we're at like almost 1,700.
But we're growing very rapidly.
Yeah.
More than
Yeah.
I honestly ever expected.
But we honestly didn't even think we'd get
For the-
this far.
For the
Yeah.
listeners, where can they find you? What's it called?
Violet
Oh.
City Collectibles.
That's all like Instagram, TikTok, YouTube,
You were gonna
Violet City
tag it on the
Collectibles.
video?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or we just
We'll put a link.
but you know, we're kind of like experimenting with skit ideas, just trying to get like people that are following us and kind of like almost like following for the personality behind, you know,
Yeah,
because
that's what
we're
it is.
people,
It's the
right?
personality.
it's the interactions as well. Do you know, like that's
Yeah.
they're funny.
And I think if we start a shop right now, I think we could have 50 to 100 people at opening day. I think we'd be able to get that through, whether they're our vendor friends that might just buy like a overpriced booster pack to support, or like our regular customers. Because we do get people DMing us, being like, you know, because we're not, you know, some people are like, you know, do you tell Epic that you're like trying to start a store? I'm like, yeah. What? They're like my inspiration too. Why wouldn't I tell them that? And they're like, bro, what if they see you as competition? I'm like, bro.
There's enough people around. What did someone came in? What were they looking for? I think they were like more magic single or like certain magic singles that they wanted. And I was like, there's 2 other card stores that's within the area.
Yeah. There's
I'm-
enough for
I'm
everyone.
not going to
to
say
eat.
the name because one of them left a business card on our desk. I was like, what the hell?
Tell me that later.
Yeah. Well, someone from somewhere had left it there.
But you hit the nail on the head. It's the personality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that we kind of struggle with our channels, because there's the 3 owners and then I'm kind of joining in with the content thing. There's too many faces. I think like the successful content creators, especially the shop owners, there's one face to the business and they're constantly pumping out the content. And I feel like that's what you're doing pretty good at. You know, you are the personality, you are the face of the business, and people are following to see what you do in the business, but they're also following you as the personality.
Yeah, and there are ways to incorporate everybody. Like what we want to do, you know. And another thing that, like, you know I don't want to speak for Alex, but one of his reservations are like, you know, every once in a while you get a pretty nasty comment, right? And you know, as much as it's super easy for people to be like, yo, bro, I don't care what people say about me. You know, at the end of the day, it's like some human really typed that.
Yeah.
And
Some of the stuff these people write is crazy.
they're-
It's
they're-
insane.
we
How
had
do you
a-
even think of that?
Dude, there's a guy from some
I
other state.
apologize about that.
He's like, but there was a guy from some other state. He's a collector, and like I don't know, but like he was like, bro, if this guy ever talked to me like this, I'd beat him up. And I you know, I'm sitting there,
Is
I'm
that
like,
the voice you pictured
no,
him saying?
no. I looked at.
He said he was gonna rock you.
Yeah, he's gonna rock me, and I looked at his Instagram, and that's what he sounded like. He had a lisp, and I'm like, bro, like why? Dude, there's nothing any adult could say to me that would make me care enough to lay a hand on them. You know what I mean? I'd be like, bro, like what? But
I mean, yeah, it's got to, like, there's only so many times that you can read a bad comment, and it's, or if it's constant. But I just don't understand, like, why people, like, just don't watch. Don't do it. To, like, but people, like, in them, they just sat there angry and just like, I've got to get this off my chest.
I think with Pokemon vendors, a lot of them are like kind of jealous because
Yeah.
they see us doing something that, like, in their mind, oh, well, bro, I could do that. One, if they could do it, they would do it. And two, a lot of
it's not-
vendors.
It's not as easy as
Yeah, a
it's
lot of
made
vendors
out
are
to.
not making like a lot of money. There's a select few vendors at these shows, like APA, NJTCG, and some of these guys are making like tens of $1,000s a month. But most of them, they're just funding their PC,
Yeah,
right?
because it's yeah. Sometimes it is, and it's just I think that's like with it. It's but you do put in your time, like
Yeah, I
what
mean,
we
they were
what,
just in the shop
what
pricing
we used to
cards,
do,
getting stuff
like
ready for
yeah,
the next show.
that's what you need to do. Is like you just need to spend that time pricing it. Like CollectorCon, I walked up to the table, didn't see any prices,
Walked
walked straight
away.
past.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not even bothering.
Mhm.
Like, one, you're going to be really expensive. Or two, I'm not waiting around where you price every single card that I want to look
Mhm.
at.
Mhm.
Just put the price there. Then that's a negotiation, or do you know what I mean? Or
A
if you-
starting point.
Or if you want to do sticker, like do sticker. Like, do you know what I mean? But at least you've set your goal there.
Yeah.
But like most of them, it's like they're too scared. Some of them are like either too scared to show the prices because they know no one's going to go there, or two, they want to squeeze it as much as possible that hopefully they're going to get the last second that they're going to get the highest value for the card.
No, and I know guys that, some guys, I've had vendors come up to me like, bro, why do you sticker your stuff? And I'm like, bro, I mean, it's important, right? And they're like, bro, but like, I just like look it up on TCG Player and like I just tell them the highest number. I'm not gonna say who, but like, and I'm like, well, yeah, you could definitely do that, but like, then
That's
you're
a 4-minute transaction that could be
Yeah.
done
Exactly.
with someone just looking.
we've had somebody come
Honest money.
at our cards and collectibles. Some dude came. I was in the middle of an art deal. He's like, hey, you got this for 110. I was like, yep. And he was like, can you do 105? I said, yep. And then
Yep.
3 seconds. He was in
Easy.
and out cash.
Mhm.
Boom.
And in a way, that's like the first offer too. So you're already getting away from that.
Exactly.
know.
Yeah.
That's the first step,
Yeah.
right? Personally, like you said, if I go up to someone's table and they don't have any prices there, like I just walk away.
Yeah, it's just like pointless. Like I get why they do it, but I don't get why they do it.
I
Just
think
take,
the
just
majority of them do it because they're just lazy.
yeah.
I-
But that's
you know?
that's the thing. You guys put the time in. You don't pay for space when you come and use our tables, but whatever.
No, it's important to.
But
put
how long
in-
does it take you to prepare for a show
It's-
for all new singles? How many hours do you take pricing
It
cards?
depends,
It's
right?
taking longer
there are
and longer.
sometimes
You got more product.
Sometimes
you
it could take. There,
Mm-hmm.
like when we first doing Getting the Rhythm, it took like 3 or 4 hours. And then like sometimes when we sell a lot of singles and we're like heavy on slabs, we can do that in like an hour.
Yeah.
I would say at minimum it's an hour and a half. It could be up to 4 or 5 hours, and
Yeah.
it's quicker right now with our third guys up in Florida or down in Florida right now. So we're commuting. Like Alex today commuted an hour and a half on a work night. So it's like also we're all paying tolls and stuff. So. There's a lot more, stuff.
Do you put tolls in your prices?
Oh yeah. But
I'm paying tolls, man.
That's why you can't include the guards.
yeah.
but you mix that with editing videos, and like the reason why I brought in 2 people is because realistically it's not, if you do it the right way, it's not a one-person job.
Yeah.
Even if you're just a vendor, like it could be a one-person job if your aspirations are to make $500 a week and fund like a cool PC. 100%. But if you're talking about like making like a real like little world, and
Yeah.
that's kind of my idea. It's like I
But
like
that's what
yeah.
that's what people's goals are. Like a lot of people are just I'm doing it just because it's fun. Do you know what I mean? I've got a lot of collection that I don't like or I've got rid of. I've got doubles. But then do you know what I mean? Like you
Yeah.
said, just do it just to hang out and just either make a little bit of extra money.
And doing everything right the first time, even if it called like so when we were getting into recording, we got into recording a little bit later than I wanted to. And when
You're
we
in
saw
trouble.
the price of these cameras, the price of these cameras, we were like, oh man, like $800 and something dollars. And we try, and I said, let's just bite the bullet and buy it. It'll
Yeah.
be worth it. And it was like 2 to 1. Like no, let's
Or you do the voting system.
basically.
Yeah,
right?
that's
That's
what
what we do, and we can tell you it works.
yeah,
But-
it's basically, but like the person who loses is just gonna take it on the
You gotta
chin
eat it, and that's
and
it.
then
It's-
just
Yeah.
move on. You're gonna win other ones.
But we try to do all these other things to like avoid paying this like $800. And we tried like
Stealing it.
phones, we tried like other types
Stealing
of
it.
cameras, we tried stealing, and none of it was working. I finally said, I was like, listen, like with respect, it's like we're spending all this time like trying to figure this out. Well, we could have just bought the thing and been 2 weeks ahead.
Yeah, that's what I've always said. Like, if we need something for the business and it makes us lives easier, like, just do it. Like, yeah, it's gonna be like, do you know what I mean? You're gonna spend a little bit more money, but then at least
Exactly.
it makes it like easier. Like,
And
you're
you-
not
yeah.
having to buy. You're not buying a $200 camera, and then in 3 months you're buying an $800 camera because you've actually
You
know what I mean?
outgrew you
Yeah,
outgrew
upgrade
the
that
initial.
fast.
Yeah.
And even that aside, it's like it's the opportunity costs, right? Like the money could cost $2,000, but like at the end of the day, we're behind 2 weeks of content. Who knows? Maybe we'd have had 3.5 thousand, followers on Instagram by now, and maybe we would have got that Greater Guard sponsorship to sponsor us.
Not
but
when not your prices.
that's
You might have to
dude,
sell them at retail.
I do sell them at retail, not the special
Used ones at retail.
yeah, but oh man, that's like one of my side goals to be like affiliated with Greater Guard even for free. If they just say like, if they just give us free guards, like
Don't start this negotiation.
no, yeah,
Just still on.
Yeah.
but it's but yeah, like doing things correctly the first time, I think is just gonna be in the money aside, just the opportunity cost of what we
Yeah.
can do.
Mhm.
But we're trying to get like Alex and Brandon a little bit more on the camera. That way people just know it's not like a one man operation and that there's like a team of people. That way it's like, oh, like they see Alex and they're like, that's Alex. He has this kind of personality. And while they might see me as like the most like vocal, obnoxious guy, right? They also are like, Alex is like, the more like, kind of like con man. And then, Brandon's like the evil scientist, right? Obviously that's not their real
Stop painting a good
personalities.
picture. Obnoxious con man and evil scientist.
Well, dude, so many like, you got so many of these vendors, even at like the local scene. They're trying to get content off of, these giving crap out the kids. And they're always these like middle-aged like dudes that, they're clearly just doing it when the camera's on. Like,
Yeah.
we're the opposite. We'll give stuff away when the camera's off, right? And
Yeah,
that's
we,
what I
we
say.
we did the same. I mean, even when we were in Springfield, like how many times did we do that? And that would get people to come back and make them repeat
Yeah,
customers.
it's like do you know what I mean? I feel like it's just that little thing. Do you know what I mean? It's not gonna we're not gonna go bankrupt because of giving a couple of packs away.
When
to
I worked
people.
with you guys at Springfield the first year, bro, I must have given out like
Yeah,
every
I know when I
day.
was doing quantities.
Every
checks.
day.
I'm like, why are we like 7 packs down?
I-
and I'm like, who worked this week? And I'm like, oh, Eric.
I made it a point. I was
Nick.
like, anytime a little kid came, I was like, I had a rule. Their parent had to spend more than $50. If their parents spend more than $50, I always threw in a pack. Because in my mind, I'm like, all right, well, like the guys aren't losing any money, but they are getting a review, and that's what another thing I would do. I would be like,
so you
a
were
review.
bribing customers with our
Yeah,
packs
for
to leave a review for
That's
you.
Eric
And-
with an E.
Eric does have a lot of good reviews
Really?
on.
Yeah,
I-
now
that's-
it makes
that's
sense.
Springfield.
He's paying for it with your money.
It cost us
Yeah.
$500.
Yeah,
But hey, you guys got
No,
a
we-
4.9
we
over there,
appreciate it. Thank you.
right?
We appreciate it.
But
That's some people would say it's because of Vanessa, but
That'd just be Nuna.
But yeah, I don't like these vendors that like record themselves doing it because I just feel like that content it's like Coop's already doing that. Like it's like kind of like
blew up.
disingenuous.
Yeah, but I
don't-
think it's because he blew up and how popular he made it that other people want to get in on the
now,
same
Exactly.
thing.
but now,
But the way they're doing it, it just doesn't feel genuine, and
It's
that's
not.
that's what I
but
don't, I
now
don't like
he's
about it.
now it to me now he's just signing autographs. He's not even vending anymore.
No,
Yeah.
well, he did still have a,
Yeah, collecting
Yeah.
case, yeah,
But other people were there,
We should start
Yeah.
doing that.
and then they had to move him because the people flooded
because
his
of
table.
the line that he had. had
But
to
they
move.
weren't going for. He's not going to give everyone in that thing a free pack or whatever, or the content that
He
made
could
him
afford it.
famous.
I
He
think
could afford it.
No, but he weren't. But but they're coming for him to sign stuff.
I
I
think-
saw him
yeah,
sign a baby.
I think because most people were coming to get his autograph, take pictures to meet him, is
They
why they
moved-
moved them.
yeah.
Well, that's what at card party he didn't have a table. He just did a meet and greet.
I don't know. He might have had a table. I know
I
he did the
don't
meet
think-
and greet before.
Well, I saw him
He
only.
probably
at
did
the
it.
meet and
He
greet.
probably had a table, but other people working.
Right. Yeah, I guess that's probably what he would have done.
I feel
Same
like
with Jason Page.
everyone is doing the vendor content now.
Yeah.
That it's
Yeah.
kind of a little saturated, and not that there's not good content being made, but there's just so much of it. It's hard to
like
filter,
how
filter
much
through
free
it.
shit can you give away to kids?
Yeah.
So one
Oh,
thing,
it's all fake.
how much good deals can you
Yeah.
do on a trade up challenge?
That's why I like what you're doing with the skits. That's something we've talked about, and we haven't got around to doing it yet. But we're also doing a podcast. And that's not something that everyone
we're trying
does.
different things. The
Yeah, just
podcast was
trying
the
out different
initial
things,
idea,
yeah.
and
I think that's what it is. It's just try something and hopefully it works.
Yes.
But so many of these vendors, they try to follow this formula, and there's already a coop, all right, and there will be like a few mini coops. You know, I know one of my friends, Sean. I mean, he's crushing it, dude. He's
Yeah,
crushing it.
Yeah, we've
Sean's a
seen his
nice guy
content.
though.
No, and like,
do you know what I mean?
I know him personally.
Like
Like,
Coop,
he's
Sean,
like
they're
that.
nice guys. Maybe that's
But
why.
like some of these other vendors, dude, I'm not gonna name drop, but like their whole thing is for the community. But then like once, dude, I'm telling you guys, like once the customers leave, dude, they laugh at these people that they're like comping low, ripping off, and like selling high. They're laughing about it, dude. They're like, man, these idiots, man. I just took their whole binder, man. I told them like it was giving them 70%, but I marked their MP cards as damaged, blah blah blah. First edition was unlimited, and they're laughing about it.
They'd
dude.
probably be more
And I'm
popular
like,
if they put that site out.
one thing with our, social media strategy and our content strategy is like, we're like opposite. Like you'll see Eric curse out a guy on our Instagram page.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
So one thing we're trying to do is just kind of be disruptive in that way.
Yeah.
And
that's
it's
what-
working
But
a
that's
lot.
what gets you the views, right?
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
doing the same thing everybody else isn't going to make you stand out.
It's gonna
So,
get you.
like,
It's gonna get you to a certain point, and you probably could be successful doing the same stuff. Like there's things that work,
Yeah.
and do you know what I mean? Like Coop's not the first person to do it, and he's not the last. But like doing something different is kind of sets you apart.
and what's different now in the Pokemon vending world? Because like let's be honest, like this is all like pieces of cardboard, right?
We want to show
It-
people the real side of
it's,
things.
it's authentic, like real, like interactions. And in real interactions, you're getting people, vendors, customers. That like when you're at a table, it's not like when you're at a store. When you're at a store, you got people that are actual collectors. They're coming in, they want to build a deck, blah blah blah. When you're at a show, and I know people might like roll their eyes at this, but if you don't assume this, you're gonna lose money. Everybody is a vendor, and they're all trying to rip you off. And it's infuriating. No,
that's a
no.
blanket statement. Not everyone is.
90% of them. It's such a large percent, and it sounds
At
crazy.
least I collect the they wear badges. It says vendor. You can tell who's who.
But like, it doesn't matter
Eric had
because
one on it.
Eric
I'm
had
right.
one.
yeah, I did get in. But you know, a lot of these people, like at the end of the day, this is not about community. Everybody's trying to save as much money as they can and pay as little as possible for the stuff they want, right? And that's
Yeah,
fair.
But I feel like that's a negative way to look at things because I don't think it's 90%. I think it is like maybe 40% now. It used to be 20%.
I think
now
you'd be
I feel like it's
surprised.
40%.
I
Like
think
the
you'd-
customers that we getting here, like parents coming in with
That's
kids.
what I mean. Like
like
at a store, it's different.
Oh,
but when
at
you're
shows.
at your show, at the shows, these are not normal collectors. If you're at a show, these are everybody is a little
There
bit
is.
hardcore.
yeah,
you know
no,
what I mean?
I think it's because everyone sees the opportunities and everyone's trying to get to that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I want to be a streamer. Or like they do with like
Exactly.
12-year-olds and whatnot.
And it's like, Alex,
Yeah.
how many times, like on average, especially when we were first starting out, how many times did vendors come to our table and try to do deals with us?
all the time.
Like
the
literally,
new guys. I'm just
Because
trying to rip
when-
off the
when
new
you're
guys.
new. When you're
because
new.
you're new and they want to take
Oh.
advantage or see if you know what you're
Exactly.
doing.
When he
And-
walks away from the table and I'm there, they fly.
They
fly.
but that's what I mean. Like it is kind of in a way. Because we're talking about thousands of dollars. Like this is not this is not a little game. It's cute. They're cardboard little creatures, but
Big
you
money.
know,
You're really selling it.
people are making a lot of money.
Yeah,
and
it
there's
has value. and
There's a lot
people,
on the
you know,
line, and if you fuck something up, you can miss out on $1,000 on a deal, right?
Yeah.
So-
it's like if you send a
Well-
first edition Dog
Come
Dragonite
on,
to
you bring
someone.
that up every
on-
time.
Yeah, we can bring it
That
up.
was-
I'd never forget.
Or you
You
could rip a
never-
$400, $500 pack.
But
Ooh. Shots fired. I know about this because he came in and told me. What did you pull from that
my
$950
Dunk
pack?
trio, bro. but that's the authenticity because when you know this, when you have this kind of mindset, like these deals are infuriating because they're literally they're trying to rip you off. Not
It's-
everyone's
it's-
trying to
it's
outwardly
kind
rip
of
you
that
off.
but like it's kind of that like cat and mouse kind of like like hoping that you not realize that it might be a first edition or it's got a stamp on or that kind of thing.
Well,
It's just like
I'll give you an example. Like I had like another vendor. It was like our first month vending, maybe like fourth, fifth show. We had a Gold Star PSA 4 Mewtwo. And he comes, he has this, the alt app, which is like fine, but you gotta understand with alt app, like
It's a
Yeah,
good.
it's not up to date.
It's a good base
baseline.
point.
It's not
a
up
good
to date,
base-
though.
No,
It's
no,
not
it's
up
a
to
good.
date.
It's a good base point.
And
But then you
for-
still gotta get your other.
for low pop stuff, it's hopeless. So
Yeah.
he alted my Gold Star Mewtwo, and he was like, "Hey, bro, like you have a sticker at $600. Alt says 500. I'll pay you 480." And I'm like, I looked at him, and I knew right away this guy's a vendor, and I cut right to the chase. I'm like, "You're not gonna sit here and rip me off." He's like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, you are trying to rip me off right now." And hold on. I know this guy. It's not even a question, because this Mewtwo had just sold for $650, and I think we had it for 700. But like he just walks away, and I look up the brand, and I'm like, yo. This is why, like, these vendors, they're trying to use this app to, like, for their advantage.
So this so he could hear it.
And I did it loud enough, and this guy, like, puffs up his chest, and he's like, "What you say to me, bro?" And I said, "You heard me. You're trying to rip us off." And he's a high-end vendor,
Yeah.
so he's not like
He's
I
not
know,
stupid.
He's not stupid. He would
Yeah,
sticker at
he
8.
knows. It's like that's why we always say like we're gonna use TCG for singles and eBay, like we're gonna do average to sold.
But that's what I
like,
mean.
But
It's-
everyone
yeah.
uses someone uses all. Someone uses price charting, which you don't even do conditions. Like
But at
or-
these shows, it's like, since you guys were going to these shows, it's evolved. It's not. There is a real market for this, and the vendors know it, and they're using stuff like alt and whatever
yeah,
is gonna
because
like.
it's the lowest. They're
using-
gonna use
they're
the
using it
lowest
in
to
their
bring it
favor.
in, and then they're gonna price it
So
or whatever.
this guy comes up to me. He's like kind of getting in my face, and I'm like, he's like, "Bro, we can prove this right now, bro. Let's open up eBay." And I'm like, "Go open up eBay." Dude, on his phone, like he scrolls down like one listing, sees the 650 sale, like closes his phone, just walks away all pissed off, and then he blocks us.
But even with eBay, you could be very specific because like the way you word it, if you use less words, you're more likely to get different values on it.
And this is what I mean, like vendors, especially when they're trying to deal with other vendors, they use this as smoke and mirrors. I mean, it sounds like, oh man, you guys are being paranoid, but at the end of the day, here's the truth: most vendors don't make as much money as I do, as we do, as like the collective.
It sounds like Nuno.
It's like
I remember Nuno. I was speaking to the owner the other day, and I was like, "You was." I don't think we've ever spoke. His name was Nuno.
But yeah, if you know what you're doing, you can like skim a lot of better deals for yourself, and that's why like a lot of these high end guys, dude, they know what they're doing, and and to say that they're not trying to outwardedly rip you off, it like the truth is there are a lot of scumbag vendors out there, and I think that's like
100%.
yeah, and and a lot of like
Name him.
even people walking at a show are like vendors on other weekends or at other shows.
Yeah.
Like, because again, when you're at a show nowadays, like, dude, the casual collector, they're going to a shop. They're going to eBay.
They do, but they used to go to shows. That's what I mean. There weren't as many stores around that you could go to. But then, like, shows used to be for collectors going in and getting it, and like it would kind of be early whatnot kind of thing to people. But
When
soon
we
as
first started going to shows, like I used to get a lot of great deals, like not just for the shop, but even for like my own personal collection. Used to get a lot of great deals. Now I don't even bother.
It's so
you just pay
competitive.
market.
Yeah,
Yeah, for personal
it's-
collection, you don't even ask.
I'm just paying market at this point. You can't get deals.
It's so competitive, and
You probably should stop going to Eric's table.
when vendors are buying now, we can't give 15% off on a card. A
Yeah.
lot of times we're paid. I have paid on like Gold Stars. We pay full comps.
We
sale.
paid over full comps before.
We have played over full comps, and it's not because like the hobby's evolved. There's so much money in the hobby now that because of that, at these shows, it's a different scene than it was even 2 years ago. 2
Yeah.
years ago, even when I was going to shows, yeah, you could like pal around and like get like 20% off.
Yep.
If somebody did that now, you'd lose money. You would lose money. You can't do that. And a vendor's not gonna lose money.
I think that's what it is. Unless there is like, do you know what I mean? Unless you're buying like a random collection at really low cost, or
No, well, yeah.
or
If
you're
you rip
buying,
somebody off, yeah.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
but technically, is it ripping someone off if you if you offer something and they accept, is that ripping someone off?
But the people that are going to shows, they now know. Like the average person knows how to comp cards now. It's not like what it was 4 years ago where people were just getting the graded cards.
See some kids that come in and like,
Exactly.
can I get this for $7 because the price is $7.27? I'm like, it's lying. I look exactly at TCG. I'm like, have you just reviewed this before you come in?
And that's what it's turned into now. And everyone's grading. Everyone's like looking for conditioning. Centering is a big deal.
I think that's the one way to people that could make money. And I was speaking to, I think it might have been you two again, yes? Were you and Zeng?
Yeah.
Basically, like, there was a sports guy and he said, like, PSA 9s should become more valuable because now there's going to be loads of more PSA 9s. But what it does in Pokemon, it's just made the 9s raw price and PSA 10s astronomical.
Yeah.
But 9, so raw price should be 8, PSA 8.
And now because of that, you go to these shows. Dude, if you're going to these shows to look for cards like
To
grails to
grade.
grade, you're out of your mind.
I clicked on the literally were like, I says, have you got any good cards? Like, we're gonna like try and grade one for like content or whatever. And they were like, if it were gradable, I would agree.
I would have done it.
Yeah.
Well, because
Or you have the vendors that have the cards at the graded price.
yeah.
because this is gonna be a
Literally,
10.
I've with someone where he said, I think he said PSA 6, and I was like, that's raw. But he was like, oh, I think he's gonna get a 6. I was like,
Yeah, get it graded, and then you can charge the 6 price. You know what I
I
mean?
think,
but
I think
like,
he's only gonna be a 2.
there's
So
so much money in the hobby now, and so many people are getting into it to like make money. Again, to go,
Well,
I believe
it's getting hard to keep up with
Yeah.
how much the market is going up and down. The one example we had recently from the shop, the Gold Star Greninja from Celebrations, it skyrocketed to over $1,000. We had one in the shop.
no, Nuno sold one in the
We
shop.
had one. We
The
had one in
same
the
day.
shop. I guess the day that it spiked, someone saw it. They came in, took advantage, and bought the card. It didn't give us any time to like see we saw the post like the next day.
Yeah.
That's when I was like, oh, that we had it for a
I
couple
think how much
months.
did you sell it for? Like 360.
360, and then a day later it was
Wow.
over
and
$1,000.
it was totally manipulated too.
Yeah, and
it-
then
it
like
must have
in
been,
2
but-
weeks he's going to be back down to probably 200.
It's already back down. Yeah,
I
it's
mean, like
What's it at now?
probably like 500 ish.
I'm not sure, but it's just in that short time. You know, with the big spike, sure, we could have made a lot of money. We didn't lose any
Yeah,
money
but
because
then
we had it priced at the
would you
current market.
would you price it at that if you knew it were a card? I don't think I would have.
Well, we had already seen the.
Yes, you guys would have.
No, if I
don't know.
Oh
I
my
don't know.
god.
Do you really think we keep up with prices?
We had seen it happen to a couple other cards that have jumped up in price. We've never, I don't think, adjusted it once because they're gonna end up coming back down.
Yeah, I mean, like if you guys got it in, you'd put it at $1,000.
Oh no, no.
Sold for.
What's happened is we had to put a stop to it. Is like people
Oh,
would be
taking
more
in, taking in the cards
we
that
were
are,
bu-
that
we
are.
were buying them at $30, and then they were dropping down to $5 again.
Yeah.
I did. Yeah,
we did stop taking in certain cards because of the price
like
manipulation.
Prismatic,
So
Destin Rivals, Journey Together, like all them cards. And I'm literally saying, if it looks like a $5 card, it will be $5 in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Do not get it.
We don't pick up any of that new stuff.
Yeah, you just gotta
Well,
stay away. Like
we used to do like a 2-week gap from when the set releases to when we would start taking in cards. But now it's like you just have to wait like over a month because it's with the
there's
price manipulation.
certain ones, like if
it's
there's
hard-
cards
it's hard
that
to
are like
keep up with.
under $5,
Yeah, the
under
illustration
$10.
rares are
Currently,
pretty
yes,
safe.
2 to 5. You know that those cards are going to be
But
2 to
that
$5.
Mewtwo, oh man, I don't
Yeah.
touch that Mewtwo.
It's gone up. I think.
Mewtwo, I think, actually went up. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but it's like impossible to predict that. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like most of the time,
I
they
mean,
go
it's
down.
the hit from the set, so you can maybe
Yeah,
tell,
but
you know.
then the only thing is how much more. Like Pokemon's printing the shit out of everything.
Yeah,
Like, and they just keep, which is good because there's more products available.
there's
for
more
people.
151 coming out, more
Yeah.
prismatics still coming out.
I think all these
I know.
modern cards are gonna like all
Black
these are gonna
Black and
drop.
White has all
What's
these
called
scheduled releases coming
Yeah.
up. So
How do you guys keep up with like the prices in the case and everything? You guys
We
develop?
just get screwed on them.
yeah.
some we do.
Yeah, I literally must have like dropped cards down to like, and they were at market. You saw me do it with all the prismatics.
Yeah.
Like he would just like dropping it down to what we got it for, so we're literally making no money on it. There's still that Sylvia on there is a little overpriced, but like
We'll take a loss if it goes. Any
it's
lower
gonna
at-
be
at this
it's like
point.
$350 now. We had it priced at $570.
Mhm.
Yeah,
from when we like got it in
but
and the
that's
percentages.
when we took it in. It just didn't move,
Like
and then we got stuck with it.
Yeah, it hurt a lot.
But you guys pretty much, you buy it at, you stick your margin on top of that,
Mhm.
and then you pretty much just set it and forget it.
Yeah,
I mean,
kind of. If we notice that something's gone up or gone down, like a lot, like customers will always tell us when it's gone down.
Yeah,
They'll never say like
tell us when it
they'll
goes
never
up.
say that one's gone
Yeah.
up. But like it is what it is. You know what I mean? You win some, you lose some.
But how much
like,
time would it take to have to go through the case? What you're gonna do that every couple
I
days
mean,
and go through and reprice
the way
things?
that the way that it kind of
Before it
happens
went that
now is
bad.
whenever we take in new cards, new trades, new purchases, and they go to
Relist it.
relist. Then if there's any corrections that need to be made, that's kind of how we know when that happens. I mean, they're
And then you
they're
adjust
doing
the
that
other ones.
every day, so it's
Like
not
the
going to be
turn-
every
the-
single
yeah.
card, but it's a decent amount where we can keep up with it that way.
like the turnover of cards that we get, like we go through cards pretty much. Like the cabinets and the cases just keep turning
You have a
around.
fast turnover rate.
Like they keep going that fast. Like that's why I said like on our percentages, like yeah, you probably think they're like low or whatever compared to what like things are. But one, we've got to obviously pay for the rent and all the extra stuff. That's what some people don't get.
Oh, this shop probably pays the highest.
We
in New
pay
Jersey.
11 grand a month in like rent.
I mean, like the percentages. I think this shop is the highest in New Jersey, realistically,
On
Yeah.
trade-ins.
on average. Like, yeah, there might be some shops that might pay 75% on like super high end stuff, but like,
Well, I mean, so
Like,
do
we-
we on
so
the
do we.
higher end
Yeah.
stuff. We understand. You know what I mean?
Oh, like
We
if
do
it's a
pay-
card we know someone wants or someone said, I need this card, just let me know when you've got it. Like we'll literally like call them up and say, look, we'll get it. Like we'll make a little
Yeah.
bit, and then they get it.
but 60% on like a $10 illustration rare, you're not. I'm sorry, no heat to the other shops, but like, no
They're not
shop
doing
is
that.
gonna pay 60% on that.
That's what used to happen. Like people used to come to it, especially in Springfield, and like we used to give them a price, and then they used to say, "I'm gonna come back," because there were a couple of stores in the area, and then Jeff like used to say, "I'll see you later," and
Yeah.
then they always used to come back.
Oh yeah,
But like you know, we try and be fair, but then that's why we kept it because like realistically, if we held on for cards, we would be doing 40%, like before, because we've got to factor in that risk.
yeah.
You know what I mean? If we're going to hold a card for 2-3 months, you know what I mean? If that could drop tank.
And because vendors don't have to deal with any overhead costs, just the table fees, they can pay higher percentages. But now, because there's so many vendors, dude, even when we first started, we were paying like 70% on like singles, bro. Dude, we're paying like I said, 80, 90% on some of these things.
If you turn that money over, yeah, you've just got to do it more frequently, but to still make your money.
But that's the thing about shows, is because if you're only running it twice
Yeah,
a week,
that's the only issue.
maybe 3 if you do a Friday show, the turnaround rate, that's where like Whatnot can
Help,
be
yeah.
nice if you have that kind of following. And like I said, dude, I know some guys on Whatnot, they're not even like, I mean, they're not huge, but they're big, right? And dude, these guys, man, they're making balls money, dude. They're rich. I know they're
But
rich.
don't believe everything you hear, though,
No,
realistically.
I watch their streams.
I know you watch it, but like you don't know what they're getting them at. Like some people, like
No,
we,
they pay market. They can pay. I know this. I'm not gonna name drop them. They literally
there's a
will
lot
go
of names that
around.
you've got in your back
I know.
pocket.
I know. I have a whole list. At least I put my skeletons out there. Oh man, I can reveal a lot of things. But like, there are these two guys, and they will buy things at market. They don't care about the conditioning. They'll just blindly trust your stickers. Because they know when they post that stuff on Whatnot,
It's gone.
they're getting.
Like, it's gonna sell.
One of my friends, I can name drop him. His name's DT. Awesome dude. He sold them a Lance's Charizard. It's like a $7 card. And the stream was super hyped that night. You know what they sold the $7 card for? Sold for $45.
That's crazy.
Bro, oh, DT was
we had that happen.
pissed.
We had that happen the one night with the tag teams.
Yeah, that were definitely fraud by someone.
Oh, I have no idea, but those tag teams were rolling. I was like,
like
keep it going.
literally, like there were like 3 people that must have been like fucked up,
Yeah.
and they were just like kept bidding. And we were literally like, stop bidding, like stop.
Tag
Like,
at that
tag
time,
team-
tag teams were like
like yeah.
$8 to $10.
It's almost like they're asserting dominance on each other.
No, but then they were going for like $100.
Yeah,
and we were like,
yeah.
this is like, I'm like, these are gonna get cancelled. Though, like now you're just ruining the stream.
Did they cancel him?
No,
No, everything
went
went through.
I think the only time we ever gave someone a free card, we saw it on their Whatnot stream later that night.
Bro, don't leave. Like that honestly, because that was early into us. I looked at him. I'm like, dude, we're never giving some grown ass man a free card ever again. And we've held to that. We do not give free cards out to like adults.
No, you did.
okay.
Ben got one.
Yeah, I
No.
got one.
Nuno.
I paid him later.
Nuno
Oh, you
gets
did?
them.
I paid him later.
Nuno gets them. I remember Nuno, we had some inventory. Nuno like grabbed some cards. And he's like, "All right, I'm liking these stickers, but I think they were like $60." He's like, I was like, "What can you do for me?" He was like, "What can you do for me?" I said, "Oh, I can drop it down to 50." You know what this man does? He looks at me. He's just like, "I can do 40." I was like, "What? You want 66%?"
Nuno pays market.
Bro, yeah, well, everyone except for Eric. And the same thing happened with my Team Rocket, the Gyarados I hooked him up with. He's like, "Yeah, what can you do for me?" I'm like, "Bro, I got it at 115." He's just like, "Oh yeah, I can do that." I was like,
Great deals. Great
Yeah,
deals
but
there.
no, but that's not Nuno from Epic Trading Collectibles. That's Nuno personal collection.
I was gonna say, like, you know,
It went to a good home.
It's a different type of animal.
He's like, you like the hours you're working this week?
yeah.
You want
That's-
some?
That's what I
less
said. I
hours?
was like, "What are my hours gonna look like in July?"
It'd be like you standing. You like standing all day.
But no, and you know what? When I know things are going into like somebody's actual personal
Yeah.
collection, I don't mind hooking them up, right? Like if I know for a fact. But I mean, you know, the reality is like there's less and less people that have personal collections, and they just have
It's
investments.
just so hard to trust people nowadays, though. It is because like people do look like, and they probably are personal collections, but they know that they're gonna sell the other ones.
Exactly, and that's what I mean. Like that's why I was saying earlier. You gotta be cut. Like at the end, just like you guys said, nobody's gonna tell you when
Yep.
your card is low.
Yep.
And that's kind of what I meant earlier about being like kind of cut through. Like they're not your friends. If they can see an opportunity to buy, like, dude, if I saw a card priced here, and I'm friends with you guys, but if I saw it priced 30% under market, I'm gonna just buy it.
Like that,
I'm just
like the one last week
But
that you priced.
I don't.
Pricing his own cards.
But-
That's how he funds his whole business.
Yeah,
That's why he
But-
works there.
that's how they got started.
At the end of the day, this hobby is like, you know, like, it's secondhand, right? You know,
Yeah.
everyone's in it to like make them money. You know,
But but the thing is, if it's been priced, it's not like we didn't get it in. We got it in. We got it in for lower. It might have gone up, but we still
Exactly.
making
Still
the
making your money.
percentage that what
And-
we agreed on before.
that's
type of
why-
thing.
I never feel bad. And I usually tell you guys, like, after I give you guys the money, I'm like, hey, you guys priced that wrong. You know? Ooh, have I done that?
No, you
No.
Oh, shoot.
expose.
You never told us.
Oh, shoot. No, okay. I'll tell you guys. I bought a Legendary Collection Flareon that you guys priced it. I think, I forget who it was. It wasn't me. It was a Flareon Legendary Collection. I think the sticker was $75.
It was the hollow or the
The
reverse?
reverse hollow.
Huh.
I just bought it.
Nice.
I'm gonna sell for 100.
Sweet.
It's worth 65.
I mean, you know, I'm selling an experience.
So one thing we're actually dealing with now is we're actually finding that some people are damaging our cards.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Oh,
Yeah, we found
Yeah.
a few cards that were, we know for sure were near mint because we had them priced at
one
near
in
mint.
particular,
Yeah.
dude. It was a Venusaur Celebi. I bought it from a guy. I know this because I met him at a coffee shop, and he was like, "Bro, I was thinking about grading it." I was looking at it, and I told him, I was like, "Yeah, it'd probably get an 8 or 9 because the centering and one of the corners is like a little bit squared."
Mm-hmm.
And we have this in our binder. We right now we keep like 95% of our raw cards are just in a binder.
Mhm.
As people come up to me like, "Bro, why are you putting these like, $200
Yeah.
cards in a binder?" I'm like, "Oh, it's just fun." But now I'm like, I swear
Yeah.
to God, I don't know if somebody swapped the card or if
Swap.
they didn't like the price and they just like thumbed it a little bit. It could have been either or, right? Because you got a card. Let's say it's like a little bit marked up, and somebody doesn't like that, and they're like, "Man, it's really easy to hate on vendors, right?"
Yeah.
So they're
Especially
like,
this one.
yeah, especially me.
You make it so
I hate
easy.
him.
Yeah, like
So-
I said before, I
Let's-
apologize for that.
Let's say they're putting the card back in the sleeve, and maybe they just press a little bit hard, a little bit harder than usual.
So you think it was done intentionally?
No,
Or was
I
the
mean,
card mishandled?
I think
or-
that's Celebi. Yeah, it could be mishandled.
Okay.
But now we're
Could you have missed it?
no,
No,
it's
this
like
is
it's
this
like
damage is really
severe,
obvious.
severe damage.
But why would you damage your card? Are they damaging it and still not buying it?
I
Are
think
they,
that-
are
I
they
think it's
still
just like
are they trying to buy a damage card?
I don't oh I don't know, but like
That's what you know, because
there-
if they damage on purpose, they're just trying to fuck you
that's the
over.
thing, and we'll never know because it could have been a god accident or it could be somebody
Could have
being
been one
like
of us.
it could have been one of no, it wasn't one of
No,
us.
but there was a few cards, that we found that looked to be.
the other
Do,
ones.
do people
maybe,
ask to look at them?
Yeah, we all, and that's one thing we're gonna stop doing. Like a lot of people like kind of take it out the protector, and from now on, I'm just gonna be like, no, like
Yeah.
I will take it out for you. You can look at it in my hands, but I'm not gonna. Even if there's a 1% chance that there's somebody that's like, because the truth is there's jerk offs out there, and they would totally just screw somebody over just for that feeling of screwing someone
Oh,
over.
100% I'm dropping that card by accident.
And
And not on purpose. Like, I've dropped so many cards.
Yeah.
Like, that's
would. He's
that's
super
why I'm
clumsy.
so glad they have top loaders.
And this card that was damaged, allegedly, is an $85 card.
Yeah.
So like to us, and that we are paying 80% on. So we're like $67 in on that card. So the fact that that card is now we're selling it down. We're selling for like I think $20. We have it priced at
I'll
now.
take it for
Yeah.
20. Yeah.
You want to take it for 20? You can take it for 20. You heard it here. We're about to get a $20
He's the one that
bill.
damaged it.
Yeah.
He's
But-
been
They were
waiting for
like,
the opportunity.
been waiting for them to discount it.
What other cards did we find that were?
I swear that Gengar that had like a thumb.
Yeah,
like a nail
it looks like
print,
someone dug their
like,
nails into
when
it.
they were like grabbing it or something,
Yeah.
and
That-
maybe
but
it was an
that's-
accident.
Yeah. But,
Like-
but what would the guy saw on like one of these YouTube or TikTok or whatever fucking Instagram, and the guy would like he got the cards and then he would like he'd kind of swapping it in it, like underneath and then put an
Yeah.
ETB on top.
Yeah.
It were kind of stealing cards as well. But like people like do that. Like it only takes someone to look at it and then the friend go, "Oh, can I look at this card?" So you
Yeah.
look away and then they just like, "Oh no, I'm not interested."
And that's another reason why, again, having like a group of people instead of just one, because
It's a better way to steal.
well,
No, he's saying from the vendor
it
standpoint.
Yeah.
prevents stealing because it's harder to steal from a table with two people.
Yeah.
Because
The
somebody's
camera helps
watching.
too.
The
Yeah.
camera helps.
Go back
Well,
and watch it.
that's one
It's-
thing I've seen a lot more vendors do is everybody seems to have like a camera set up now.
Yeah.
Bro,
Yeah.
and
But
they're
if you catch it after the fact, I mean, unless you see
Yeah, but
the
they're all
person
recording
again,
content. So I don't think it's so much for the
It's good
security.
more for
content.
content. I guess yeah.
At least
from
you'll
the
get
content side
at least
of
you'll
it.
get shares by rattle.
No, but yeah, like every week, we're kind of like trying to evolve a little bit and try to figure out, all right, this works, this way pricing works, this like labeling it like this will like so even
Yeah,
like
we're
the beginning,
constantly evolving.
like
Yeah.
we used to put the sticker on like the left side, but then we noticed it was covering the set number.
Yeah.
But then vintage
We've-
and modern, they
Moved
flipped the
We've changed our systems from where we started to like where we are now. It's like it's always going to change. And I think
And-
we're still trying to improve as we go.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And if you don't, like your table will stagnate.
You need to try to keep making things better and better. Make the transactions
Yeah,
go faster.
It's just
and-
like little things that just make, especially presentation as well. Like if you go and these cards thrown in, but if they're all organized and laid out in the same way and the stickers in the same spot,
And that's why, so I was actually gonna put this in the employee box.
Hmm.
Like one thing, at first, we kind of like went back and forth with was I am all for putting one display case with all the cards and graded cards, and for multiple reasons. One, you can sell the graded cards. Two, it enhances these grail cards. We put all of our grails
Yeah.
like $500 or above in these protectors. And we have to fit in a lot less, but the display is a lot easier.
Yeah.
And I almost think at the shop we should have more emphasis on, because a lot of people don't even know these things exist still, right? And displaying them in the more in case, because I know we have the 3 now, but like more that way people
because they came like that.
yeah.
yeah, and,
That's
and
we
Those
did-
were actually included with the,
exactly.
We did clarify
beforehand.
before we
asked.
spent $1,800.
But
We
I've been
I want a
working.
coin flip.
I've been working this week, and this one guy came
Undefeated.
in. He saw those cards, and he said, "What are like?" He was leaving. He already purchased some booster boxes or something. He sees those. He's like, "What are those?" I said, "Dude, they're graded cards. They're for your slabs." And he said, "No way. Like, where do you guys get them?" And I said, "Well, it just so happens to be that we sell them right over here." And he bought like one normal one, and then he bought like a gold one of the CGC gold ones. So like that display, like the display is everything. And I've seen like vendors, like these high end vendors with a shitty, messed up case, and all their grails just thrown on top of each other. I'm
Yeah.
like, well, you have
But that's what it is. It is presentation.
Yeah, presentation matters.
yeah, it's like you have $50,000 worth of slabs in there, but why don't you have some pride in yourself and like just make them look nice?
Presentation is everything, and
Yeah.
I'm very, very anal about presentation, about just how things are in the case.
Oh yeah, whenever
Yeah,
like
Nuna.
That's me.
yeah,
Nuna, literally, had silent arguments for 2 years in Springfield. I'd go in, I'd organize it, I'd set it out a different way. Nuno would go in a day later, move all the fucking things around, and then I'd go in again, move them back, and do them in a different way. Or like we might get less slabs, so I'm like moving singles down and moving somewhere else. Then Nuno come in and he'd be like, "You don't like it like that way," so he's gonna move it to another way. And like it was literally a side. We probably still do it today.
No,
I didn't
No,
even-
now Paul's in charge of it now.
I did it with Paul in the
Oh, you
case.
did?
But I set up the case, set it in, came in the day after Paul went, I hope you don't mind, but I've just redone the case. And I'm like, I don't mind, but I just changed this because I
Yeah.
think he'd
Yo,
go like,
Paul made it look way better than
yeah,
Ben.
oh, he did.
Ben had it just like thrown in there.
That's-
Paul was like thinking about, like, oh man, we should put this here, and then we should push this stuff up a little bit and make it like look more filled. Blah blah blah.
This was like at 10 o'clock at night when I was doing it. I was like,
yeah,
I'm going home.
yeah, you just put the stuff out. And
Yeah.
then,
There's a saying in
And I
retail.
listed, do not look at the pictures. Don't look at the pictures of the blisters.
I haven't.
Just don't look at the pictures.
I
Oh, that were
haven't.
another thing as well. That's why I refused to list because I used to take pictures and there might be a little bit of the corner in. Nuno would go in, he'd take it down, he'd relist, he'd take a new picture.
Everything needs to be uniform. Make
Yep.
it all look
It
nice.
does,
so
but
then
I would like
it looks,
it's. You can still see it. No one cares about that little thing in the corner.
I
And
hear
so
stuff like that bothers
You'd
me.
be surprised.
2 years ago, I refused to list.
There's a saying I like in retail, right? And it comes to when it comes to merchandising your store, it's pilot high, watch it fly. So I like to make sure the cases are filled, make sure everything's filled, and there's just like some sort of psychology behind it.
Yeah,
No,
that's what
it's
every
true.
Is appealing.
It's true. Even here in the store, we always try to keep our shelves stocked with product,
Mhm.
just because you don't want people to come in and see empty shelves. It makes them less likely to then
to
go
buy.
and make a
Yeah,
purchase.
because if you look,
Yeah.
like that's why I was just said, move stuff around, make it
Make
work.
it-
It's just
make
not
it-
Make it
appealing.
look,
Yeah.
busy.
Yep.
Make it look busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might be some of the same products like move in different locations,
Mhm.
but as long as it looks busy, then and when you are like got full like shelves, then
Mhm.
it looks what?
Yeah, and there's like I remember
You're a mess, man. You are. I'm constantly cleaning up after this guy. He's leaving holes in my case.
the graded guard display looks great though. But when we were first starting out, like at one point, it was at the Woodbridge Mall show, our binder got like cleared. Bro, we had
Mhm.
nothing in our binder, and I was like, dude, we need to get some more binder stuff. And
was a good day.
we had a Rayquaza alt art, and this is the one time when I went with vendor deals. I was giving them the better end of the deal. I said, take this Rayquaza alt art at a percentage. I want your low end raw stuff.
Mhm.
And this group of teens that have like $100,000 worth of stuff. They're like, you'll take my low end for this? They were like, yeah, we'll do that. And I took like a bunch of like $5 to $30 cards and we listed them all out because I was like, yeah, I'm not using your stickers. I'm using TCG. Like, with no respect to your stickers. I know they're all bullshit. And he was like, yeah, that's fair. And I'd round some stuff down, a little bit.
As you do.
And
I don't do that.
But-
Well, sometimes I do.
But I'm giving him a I was
Yeah.
at the time $800
He's
Rayquaza
getting
card.
the kind of he can sell one card for all them.
And I'm taking it out a percentage.
Yeah.
Like I'm losing 20%. So I was like, whatever.
The percentage were 110%.
And but he's gonna mark. He marked it up. But we just got a bunch of raw cards just to fill up our binder, just because our binder was like looking like kind of pathetic. And I was like, we gotta fill this thing
Now
up.
we have more cards than we can even fit in our binders.
Well, yes and no. I mean, so, like one day we could have like all like 3 binders ready to go, and then it just takes one streamer to come in and just buy everything at like 95%.
Start flipping everything out of the binder.
And that's what I say. I tell them like while they're like grabbing everything, I'm like, I tell them like I'm not going below 93%, just for
Yeah.
Like I don't care how much you're buying, and like I had one guy be like, seriously, bro, and I was just like, well, why would I sell it to you at 85% when I could just sell it at 100%? I don't take in anything I don't think is gonna move.
Yeah.
So, but even like before, like we just took in a huge like vintage collection a couple days ago, and we were gonna go to this next show with like half a binder. Now we must have got like almost like
We've got
100,
like 2 binders full.
probably like 2 binders, one modern binder, one vintagey kind of binder, and but it's so volatile.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like you want to buy loads, you've got inventory there, but then it's like one, it's getting it at a good price, and two, hopefully the prices don't change that much by the time you get to just show it.
And another like strategy we've used. So we when we were like starting out, one of our goals was to put $1,000 every week aside, and we were doing that. And we were still like profiting and stuff, and we're still like, but like our rate of growth of our inventory was only going up like 2 or 3% because I calculated at the end of every night. I'm like, we're kind of stagnating, and I had a Alex was pretty adamant about putting $1,000 a week, and I said I was like, we need to spend money to make some money.
You
Need to
were putting
reinvest
1,000
everything, yeah.
aside for what again? I'm sorry, I missed it.
Just for opening up a
like
shop.
opening up a
for
store,
opening-
And we
okay.
had like
Gotcha.
we
Just
had
a
like
savings.
we had like
Yeah, yeah.
$5,000
Yeah.
like just set aside, and I finally I had a conversation with Alex. I said, look, our inventory is kind of stagnating. We could be making $1,000 a week. That's great, but like at the end of the day, our inventory is worth 30,000 right now. We're
Mhm.
missing out on like potential gains because if we're
Mhm.
buying things at a
Mhm.
percentage. So we basically took that 5,000 just spent. We spent everything, and I believe in like
How's that one gold star that you bought?
dude, these gold stars move like, but that Mewtwo.
Yeah.
I sold 3 PSA 4 Mewtwo's with one for $1,100.
Nice.
$1,100. But like, because we're dealing with percentages, the more money you put in, the more
The more
percentage.
you turn around, the
Exactly.
That's how
faster it
these
goes.
guys grew so quick because they reinvested every single dime.
Yeah, and
It's been what 3 years basically,
4 years.
4
What
years?
year are we in? 25.
25.
We started in 21.
So almost 4 years. Technically.
Yeah. We've
But-
had a couple of trips out of it.
Yeah, I mean, we basically, till this day, we just keep the business is basically on its own now, and the money that comes in just gets reinvested right back into it, and so we can keep bringing new stuff.
and the more stuff you have, the more opportunity you have to
Yeah.
sell something.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You
Well,
know?
whether it's equipment that you need, or now even like trips that we go on. We just went to a card party in Tampa. That was
Sick
all.
invite.
That was all done through the business. So it's if I know you'd want to put money aside, but if you really want to grow, you're just gonna
Yep.
But
you're
Just
gonna have
gotta
to keep.
yeah, basically your first year, you're not going to
Yeah.
take anything.
and there are pros to having a big nest egg of money.
I mean, I don't-
Because if
I'm
somebody,
just saying from
yeah.
from our experience, like it's
no,
worked for us.
you gotta
And-
when you're starting out, you gotta spend money to make money.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, and there have been times I remember, we had this one guy selling all these high end grails, and he wanted to sell them 85%, and we didn't have enough money. And I our one friend's pretty wealthy, but even me, like as a teacher, I was like, guys, like I want you to know how serious I am about this. Like I'm gonna like take money out of my personal account. I'm gonna buy these cards because there's no way we're gonna lose on them.
We've done that.
Yeah.
Initially, when we
Yeah,
first started, we ran into certain points where
You can't afford it.
we were kind of capped out, and
Yeah,
we were
but
like
it's a $5,000
like
card.
we can't pass up on this deal. So, like we would put in a little bit extra and then recuperate whenever the time came. But
Yeah, and I'm still waiting to be recouped.
it
But-
takes a while.
But yeah,
It
like
takes a while.
but turning money and spending, like some vendors have like they have like $5,000-$10,000 just like sitting there. I'm like, that's cool, and like something cool comes up, yeah, they can buy it. But like my logic is, if I spend like now, we probably like I don't know, like last show, how much did we sell last show? It was kind of a mid show, like
Where were we?
bro, Woodbridge or was it APA?
Dude, all these shows kind of blend together now.
But like
It's the same people at the shows as well.
we probably sold like 5,000-6,000, maybe even more.
I really can't remember where we were.
APA. And then at Collecticon, I went to Collecticon. I had some deals lined up. I had a $3,800 deal, and we probably got 4 because we took a little bit of a trade in. We got like 4.2 ish from it, but like at first like 5,000 seemed like a lot of money. Now it's like 5,000. I could liquidate everything right now at like 90% to that Asian crew, that the high end Asians, and we can probably walk away with 20 grand in cash.
Nice.
If we wanted to take that percentage,
Yeah.
but we're still gonna make more money by just keeping it, letting the inventory build up. Because another thing, one of our points of contention, not contention, but like we were debating on in the beginning, and I got outvoted. Was like,
How did you take it?
how do we keep track of our inventory?
Mm.
Now at a shop, you can scan things and put it onto
Oh,
one big system.
Well,
you
that was a process that we evolved
Yeah.
into as well, because we had the same issue. Like,
Yeah.
how do we keep track of the stuff we're taking in
Mhm.
and what's going out?
But at these shows,
That's how we ended up with the barcodes.
Exactly, and at a shop it works perfectly. But at shows,
You can still do it.
No, there's guys that do it. I was actually gonna ask the one vendor that was on the corner
Which card?
right here, right outside our door. He was using, I don't know if it was Shopify, but he had like a QR code
It's
on
an inventory.
his.
It'll be an inventory thing.
Yeah.
Well,
I
even
was
if-
gonna ask
but
him,
It's probably just scanning out of his inventory, so you can still do it where you're not getting charged,
Mhm.
but he's scanning it out of his inventory.
There's
You
still
keep track of what he
problems
bought
with
it for,
that.
sold it for.
There are problems with that in the sense that like, if you're at a show, you're getting new inventory too. So like, it's
Yes.
like, what are you gonna like bring a printer and print everything out and re-put
Yeah,
everything up?
but
No.
you could, or just like what we used to do, like when we did CollectCon last year, we just banged all the new shit into ETBs,
We were.
and then we lost it, and then we eventually found it again. But that's a different story.
You
But
could
then we
do
ju-
it, yeah,
yeah,
but
but-
like,
Or
you
if
know,
someone asked, we just did that deal, and basically like that card never existed.
but the amount of time you're spending like printing out new labels to resticker them and then like putting them into a system
Yeah.
could be used making money,
What
right?
about the time
Yes,
you
but-
save when you're making that sale? Then
Yeah.
now you could just scan it.
Done.
But like,
Like,
we're,
what
we're
do-
talking about when you
like-
get new inventory
No,
in.
but when
Yeah.
you take the pictures and then you spend 3 hours a night or 3 hours after going through and like, oh yeah, that's all for this, or we got that. You know that what people do. Oh, let me take a picture with the transaction.
But the thing is, like, that will give you information on, like, I just what I was explaining to them. Like, one, it's a lot of time, but two, the only thing that really tells you is like your exact dollar profit. But
Yeah.
at the
So
end,
if you want to know your stats,
But at
your
the end of the
exact
day-
profits,
You want to
like,
know your inventory, like
Yeah.
you can, like I can figure out how much we've got in inventory straight away.
oh yeah, but like,
It takes time. Like
but-
we spend a lot, like even taking pictures, like because like I know we spoke about like you said you were going to set up a website kind of thing, but like you got to keep that
no,
updated.
like I said, it's like I think a storefront, this world and a vending world are they're not really relatable. Like they're
They
the
are.
same.
You can do it.
No,
Why not? What's
every-
stopping you putting a
No, no, no.
barcode
You
on
sound
it?
like they sounded 3
Well,
years ago when I was trying to convince them
Yeah.
to go to barcodes.
for real.
100%.
No, no, no.
I'll
for real.
convince you. Give me time.
I'm trying to I'm trying to
Eric,
explain.
Eric, we used to say no all the time. We
It's
were just like,
true.
oh, we're moving cards
Oh,
too
we're moving
fast.
cards too fast. There's no
I-
point.
Hold on, let me explain it first. You
They
guys
didn't-
just
they didn't
talking
even put
over
barcodes
me.
on the cheaper cards. Like
No,
under
yeah.
$10, they would have put
The
barcodes. Now they put it on everything.
barcodes are good. I'm not denying
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
When you have a professional system like that, you can scan things in, you're collecting taxes, that's good. That's 100% good. But when you're at a show, you basically put a whole week condensed into 8 hours, right? Your time at a show is very valuable. So if somebody comes in, they trade in 100 new cards to us,
Mhm.
we're gonna sell them that day.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
Of course.
So if we,
We
have
sell
to,
most of them. That
we sell most of them. So if we have to spend time now printing out new barcodes mid-show,
No. But them ones, you're gonna be pricing them, and you can pretend that they don't exist, and then if you take any of them cards home, then you put barcodes on them to make the next transaction.
well then
We just
then
have to put those
then
cards
it's,
out,
then it's
though, or we're
skewing the,
missing
then
out.
it's skewing the numbers. You're not getting an accurate read because
Yeah,
you're
then you're
doing
not
sales
tracking
and you're not
everything.
tracking them.
No, but you
Yeah.
can put that separate money into a thing and just be like, look, we made this more profit on
It
this.
ruins the point of tracking them because the
Tracking
tracking
everything,
them is to have an exact dollar amount. But here's the thing about vending or even anything, the exact dollar amount that you're gaining, it doesn't really matter as much as just the total cost of your inventory. Because at the end of the day, we're slaves to the market. It doesn't matter if we're making like $5.53 on average. If the market tanks overnight, that our inventory is our profits essentially.
Yeah.
So what we do is now every like month or so, we do a fresh rate of our inventory, complete
Yeah.
breakdown of our inventory, and we see if the trends are going up.
yeah,
and
and
it's,
that's how we track everything.
How long does that take though?
It's
We do it
it's
while we're
actually a
pricing.
very quick process.
yeah, we just at the end of the pricing everything, we just add everything up.
Hmm.
Now, however, like I said, if we were
But how
doing a
does that-
shop, if we were doing a shop, we would have everything like scanned, anything like probably like 5 and over. We'd be scanning, putting it in the system, not only
Everything
for
needs
like.
to have a barcode. Don't be like these guys.
But
It doesn't
yeah,
matter if
no,
it's a dollar
I
card, it's
definitely
gotta have a
believe in
barcode.
like keeping like a draft of everything.
Yep.
But you know, there's look,
It is funny listening to it from the other side.
95% of vendors don't do it, and it's not because
It's
like
because they don't want to do it and they don't want to track it because they
Bro,
can't
I
be bothered to put
just
time in it.
explained it, but
Didn't make sense.
No,
To me, it doesn't make
so
sense.
I'll explain it.
You're calculated on the dollar amount, basically.
So
Like this is what you start off with, and then this is what you end up with, kind of thing.
so we started off.
How
right,
do you know?
with-
So do you? So I go and buy a card off you. I buy a slab for $3,000. You bought it at $2,500. Do you write that down?
No.
No.
So how do you track that?
So we don't track it at the individual card level. We track it.
The total amount.
we track the total amount of all of our assets.
We track our
cash.
inventory.
Yeah.
But
So
but you might get one card at 95%. You might
So
get one card at 60%.
if our inventory grows by the next
Yeah,
time
but
we price it, we know we're doing something right.
Right.
But that's not tracking it. That's only tracking the
But
increases.
what we're saying is like
What if
it's
it
not like
drops?
how being at a shop is. You can't keep like
You can.
I-
You can. But you
I'll
just
give
saying-
you. I'd make a bet with you then. I'll make
Okay.
$1,000 bet with you. You create your own inventory. You vend. And you try to do that. Put barcodes on the cards.
Yeah, I think it's
that
pretty
day.
tough. Unless you have an extra body just dedicated to doing that, I think
Yeah.
it'd be pretty tough to do.
Yeah, just 3 of them.
But it's not even just that.
But,
It's like
or you could literally like put the cards that you get in as trade and just put them in an ETB and don't touch them.
no.
Because they want to sell
Why
them.
would I do that?
They want to sell them at the show.
I want to sell them at the show and flip them.
Yep.
At the end of the day, because one thing we thought about, like Brandon wanted to he wanted to keep track of what we paid for everything, what we sold it for. I was like, okay, well, if we do that, your job at these shows, you're gonna have to go to every show, and you're gonna have to sit there on a computer, and
Yep.
you're gonna have to type every deal. And once he saw that, sometimes within
Oh, you
30
wanted
minutes,
to type it if you could scan a barcode.
some of the well, even if we were scanning
He
barcodes,
has to type it to enter it in to
Like I
print out a
said,
barcode.
Yeah.
I
and
know, but you could. Like,
but
you could just print out $5 card. $5.
where are you gonna print it out at?
The printer that we've got is this big.
But are you gonna print out like if you get 100 cards, you're gonna print out 100 barcodes?
Yeah.
I
But
see.
it-
I see,
I'm
I
not.
see how slow your employees do it here.
Yeah, because we take pictures. We do a full listing. We take pictures front and back, and then we put barcodes on it.
But even if they're typing the barcodes, they're still gonna have to type like what we got them in for, what
Yep.
we're pricing them out for.
In an
and that's
ideal
not,
world, that'd be great. I just don't think you could do it in a
at a
busy
vending,
show.
it's
You
too
could
fast.
do it in a vending, but
you
you
c-
want to
you could, but you'd be
you want to
wasting a lot of
resell
time
the
doing it.
cards that you get. in.
You could
Yes.
do it, and then like
You can't wait till next
the
week.
time that you're spending, because again, it's a whole work week condensed into one 8-hour period. If somebody's spending the whole show, like
And that's part of the reason we only buy good shit.
yeah, exactly.
You know?
Like
Mhm.
if
We don't have to worry
somebody's-
about
if you have one
what we bought it
guy
at.
spending like 2 hours a show, like putting something in a system, that could be 2 hours working with customers. And yeah, there are
Taking
some
on an
shows
extra
where they're
customer.
dead. But if it's a pop in show, which ideally you only want to sign up for like good shows, that's what we do. Like we're not gonna sign. If we sign up for a bad show, we never go back to that show again. Like if we're not dealing with customers like every minute, like we're losing money. When we get a new card, we put it out right away because I can't count how many times where we get a new card.
Ben, we've
and
done
it's gone with someone might be at the
We
table
did, we
looking
did
for
it
it.
at Collecticon. There were certain cards that we took
that
in.
people asked for.
Yeah, so we knew that they wanted them, so we would put them right back in the case. That's basically what he's saying. Is like they're taking in stuff that's liquid that's going to move. So they go and they put it right back out in the case.
There are shows where we do over
if-
200
but-
deals.
but
I
if you-
get
if you-
it,
if
but
you wanted to
had
know-
if you had 85% of your inventory barcoded,
okay, put it this way.
and then
Let's
just a
say-
small
that'll be
majority,
Let's say
them.
you're at a
If-
show
yeah.
and somebody brings in a whole collection,
Yeah.
like 400 cards.
and you're going to sit and price all them cards and list and put them
Yeah.
out.
No,
Yeah.
what we do is we just put them out without a price tag at that point.
Then you look it up when you go to sell it.
Yeah, and we just I tell them like, yo, they're
Yeah.
like, why doesn't it have a number? I'm like, we just got it in because at the end of the day, what are you gonna sit on $400 like cards? If they're in an ETB, they're not doing anything.
Yeah.
So the opportunity costs again, right? The time is very valuable at the shows, and you really want to maximize your time because at the work week, we have you have multiple people working. You can have them list, price, take pictures, put them in the system, and it's very efficient. But
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we the system that we have is more for a shop now, where we have them list it, price it, then we set them aside. We'll make a video, put it on Instagram. Where at a show he wants
still
to.
do the same. You
At-
still do the
I
same.
understand, but at a show he just wants to move stuff quicker.
and we don't have fixed
Yeah, but you can't track.
percentages.
That's to me. There's no way. of
Well,
tracking
you
shit.
track at the you could track the beginning of the show and then the end of the show and manually do everything.
So you just add up all your inventory.
We do it
Yeah.
probably like once a month. Yeah,
once a month.
They
Sometimes we'll
they
do it right
based
before
on that
after
total
a show.
number.
because
Even
Even
they're,
if-
they're not
yeah.
gonna really know at what percentages that they're running at because
They know
price
they're building
stuff,
the value of their inventory.
but they
goes
know
up
the
and
value of
down.
the inventory. Yeah.
and the amount of time it would take to do what you're proposing at a show would cost us honest to
It
God
would
over
cost
the
you
course
more
of
than
months.
it's, than
It
it's
costs you
worth
more
doing.
time.
It would
yeah.
cost us thousands of dollars.
Yep.
I think
It won't.
I'm very confident it would.
Well, what-
100%.
What's the next shows that people could find you at?
Next show is going to be at this weekend, I believe in Somerset, NJTCG with
Yeah.
21
Maryland.
21 inch tables.
Yeah, We're running 2 tables, and again, like
Two.
we're expecting like
We're running out of table
we
space.
we are, and we have
That's
like 3
yeah.
display cases right now,
That's a
4.
good sign.
But we want it to be when we're at a show, like people are like coming in and out, and a deal is made, and right after that deal, I'm trading that stuff into somebody else. So like I have like I know a family tree. Like for example, we got a Gold Star Espeon a few months ago, and we traded $5,000 worth of slabs. And Alex at the end was like, "Bro, I didn't feel good about that. Like that's a lot of."
It was just a big deal.
It
was our biggest deal at the time, and I was like,
huge
"Oh, this is
deal.
making me nervous."
And I was even a bit nervous about it.
And you were like, "Dude, I don't know if we should have done that."
But I said, listen, a Gold Star Espeon is rare as hell, so let's just sit on it. And months later, we traded that, and we got all these like promo Pikachus. We probably made like we sold it for like 8,000, and we took trades in at percentages and different percentages. So we probably made like 10 grand off of it roughly. But in my head, I have like a spider web of like how what cards got into that. Like so I know almost every card that mattered that we traded into that. Like Gold Star Flareon, PSA 9, and a Black Label Unigaba were the 2 big cards, and then a bunch of honestly bullshit. It was just a bunch of random cards.
We know we're taking things in at percentages, and we're buying good shit. So, we know we're making a profit on 99% of the things we have.
If you tracked everything, right, and you're like seeing how much you're making, but then overnight your inventory falls 40%, well then you're in the negatives. It doesn't matter if those individual transactions were positive at the time, because when we're doing with secondhand, we are slaves to the market. So even if you do all that, Ben, and then the market crashes and you lose 70% of the value of your cards, none of that stuff you track mattered, because now you've lost thousands of dollars, right? So,
But how the Pokemon market's not going to drop 70% of it?
you that's the thing, you never
never know, yeah,
and
you
it's
never know.
not there are times. Remember when the first edition Lugia sold during COVID for $120,000, and then how much did that sell recently? 25,000. That's more than 75%.
That's
You never
one card.
all the vintage cards.
Depends on the time. Yeah, it depends on the time. They go through.
We're in a
waves
bubble right
where
now.
Cards, where
We're
cards go
in
up
a
and down.
bubble, and
Yeah.
it's great, and everyone's making a lot of money. But there's nothing saying that something can't happen where all these crypto guys,
How long?
sneakerheads.
How do you, how
Be a
long do you think it's
recession.
gonna last?
I think we still got another year of this almost
that's the same
glory
thing.
age.
30th anniversary.
That's the same thing I say. Yeah, it's gonna go into the 30th. And
I
then-
already think it's slowing down in some ways. High end, no, but modern's not as hot right now
No,
as
I
it
think it's
was.
because they're printing the shit out, and the people can keep getting it. So and then people are getting more hits, so they just drop in the thing.
And
Dude,
then
and you've
once
got these
people-
cards with 20,000 pop, these PSA 10s, the
but
Umbreon.
46,000 on the Van Gogh Pikachu.
Yeah.
If the price goes down, people are like, man, dude, screw this. It just takes one big motion to leave. A lot of people leave, and now these gold stars, high end. At the end of the day, high end will always be high end, right? But it can always drop. But if high end drops, modern is gonna get destroyed, because the pops on modern.
Yeah.
Talking
We
about
lose our camera?
So we're back. Memory card run out. So thanks for coming.
yeah.
We appreciate it. Next time, hopefully Jeff's here.
It was our first guest.
First
so
guest.
Thank you
We
guys.
got to
Thank you
send
very
Jeff
much.
Oh, really? I
on,
didn't know that.
Yep.
Yeah,
You're
we're
first.
famous, bro.
Now I feel
We had to
special.
send Jeff backpacking in Europe to
Yeah.
do it. But
Yeah.
Keep taking more trips, Jeff.
But leaving thoughts. What kind of advice would you give for new up and coming vendors?
I really do think having a cutthroat attitude and almost kind of being a little bit of a dick and just cutting the bullshit. Don't sit there and the time is the most valuable thing, and if you're not spending your time at these shows making money, you got to be questioning why you're there, right? So I would say when you're at a show, just look for your bottom dollar, make your percentages, and be happy with a 10% win, right? And don't hold thinking oh man, if I hold this for another 3 months, it's gonna go up 30. Just move the damn thing and move on to the next.
stop giving away
Yeah.
free cards to kids.
And don't give free stuff out.
What about trade up challenges?
No, yeah, I would
No,
say,
no trade-off.
definitely have a cutthroat attitude, be a dick. Eric's a natural at it, right? But one thing I'll suggest is I don't think this is something like anyone could do alone, to be honest.
Mhm.
Right. I think this is a lot more work than I, originally expected. So definitely not alone.
Yeah, and you'll see a lot of vendors
Okay.
come and go.
Yeah.
So where can they find you again?
Violet City Collectibles on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, and
And OnlyFans.
that's our secret reveal for the next pod, bro.
That's how he's been making his
Yeah.
money.
But yeah, we're
Well,
trying to hit 1,000 subscribers.
Hopefully have you back in a few months, and we'll
Yep.
get an update from you guys.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
bro.
definitely.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Back
thanks
soon.
for having us. It was
Thank you
super
very
fun.
much.
Thanks
Awesome.
for coming.
Like I already know you guys, so I'm gonna see you tomorrow.
Yeah. Peace.
Yeah.
All right.
Peace out, guys. See you next time.